Yo, what the?
You want enlargement pills?
Bro, I'll see you later.
All right, see you, man.
Have a good one.
It's beautiful here. It's coming down. I'm an untrained meteorologist reporting on the snow. I mean, it's in the streets. God damn.
Chris, is that a weed?
No, this is a crayon.
I'm calling the police!
911, what's your emergency? Yeah, why are your eyes like that? You smoking? No, I just got weed in my smoking weed.
I'm an untrained meteorologist reporting on the snow. Damn. I mean, God damn. It's in the streets. God damn.
You walk with the Lord, you will never be out of step.
Get your ass back here, boy!
As a firework, mate.
Bang. Bang, bang, bang.
Boom, boom, boom. Pop, 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 pop.
Hello! Hello! Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Cha-ching. Cha-ching.
By his criminal mind, this man is behaving well. His reward is the canoe. This time he can sit in the canoe for up to an hour.
I don't know what you heard about me, but if you can't get $1 out of me, don't try to hit no bird you can't see. I am a motherfucking PIN.
And I've always kind of believed that in the earth, like the hollow earth, right?
Yeah, that's my shit right there.
Yeah, me too, man.
Hello, hello, and I'm so hello, 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 I'm so hello, hello.
The world all is hollow, and I have touched the sky.
I just sit down and perk down, boy. Get a pen and paper.
Well, John, all the perks will turn their lights on for you.
Cognito HQ, open the Hollow Earth portal.
Hello, hello, oh. Hello, hello, oh. I'm so hello.
Don't make me go down and put down, boy. It was like Hollow Earth come to the surface, right?
That was deep.
You gotta look deep to find the deep things. If all you ever do in your life is stay at the surface, you'll never find anything worth exploring.
Are you real?
I try to be.
He's a psychic mushroom from inside Hollow Earth. I'm so hello, hello, oh. I'm so hello, hello, oh.
Conspiracy theorists like him are destroying the country!
I said, Alice, you gotta explain this to me. How?
Alexander's mom calls him the most perfect boy in the world.
Alex might be retarded. We'll see.
That is not true. It's a porky pie, my son.
Well, slap me twice and call me Timmy. Welcome back to another episode of the Hollow Perth Perspective. I'm your resident psychic mushroom from Hollow Earth. Oh, yeah. We all understand portals and space travel and all that jazz. So I just hit you with some sound bites there. I was feeling good this morning. So how you all doing? Chat's been lively early. Let's say hello. See who's in there, who's got up nice and early or chilling out on a nice Saturday night. If you're in that side of the realm, the northern side. What's up, Greg? He says, we want it now. channeling Step Brothers there. Good shit, good shit. I've had meatloaf in ages, to be honest. What's up, Yona? What's up, Claire, the one and only OG? Who else have we got here? We got Ghost Art in early, dropping some mad facts about Axon Lightpost. I wonder if they got anything to do with gene tech. I did do an episode on the flock cameras here down under, and yeah, we're not using flock exactly, but we've got a mob called Gene Tech that is like the hardware manufacturer for all these cameras. I found that out by walking up to one of these cameras and taking photos, but we haven't officially got flock working here yet in Australia, but I haven't looked into Axon Lightpost because that could just be a whole another kettle of fish. So shout out to GoStar. Apparently it's a networked surveillance node with microphones, cameras, and real-time feeds. Flock tracks plates. Axon LP tracks everything around them. Flock has friends. Good little bit of info there. Who else have we got? We got iHandy. You handy, I handy, we all handy. And we got Radio Sack sneaking in for a bit of fuck yeah. Oz intensifies with the Indian Ocean. Curry shores of Oz. We have been accepting more and more curry to our shores, for lack of a better term. You know, the older clergy pan, the immigration agenda that everyone seems to be going through. We're going to be tackling the mental health agenda today, but before I get any further, a big shout out to the one and only new number 6 from the New Prisoners. He is simulcasting us out on his channel, on the Rumble, and on his channel on the Twitterverse. And I am trying again to go out on the YouTube verse, see if we can get some more views on the TMP worldwide, if you know what I mean. We got attacked by the tech gremlins in the physical world as well as the digital this morning. I woke up to the computer, decided I wanted to reset, so I lost all my tabs and fucking nothing was set up. And then while I was doing that, as you can see, the lighting's might be a little bit off this morning. I rearranged my office yesterday, and then me Temu microphone stand this morning decided to collapse, so I had to rebuild it quickly. And I have to use like a secondary clamp to sort of fasten it to where it fastens. So it's a little bit of a project to get it up and running, but we're here. We're here. So yeah, links for the TMP are in the show notes. Shout out to Yona in the chat, also a member of the TMP. He produces a lovely show on a Tuesday, and also produces a lot of pretty cool music too. So go check out Yona's page on a Rumble as well. And while we're here, Radio Sack also puts up some pretty cool videos on his channel. So if you're looking for something to watch, go check that out as well. And Radio says it all starts here, neurobionics.io. All right, we're going to have to check that out, Radio. I'm going to have to check that out for sure today. So let me just type that into a browser here. Oh, shit. Here's me spelling. Neurobionics. My fucking fingers always press the wrong buttons. Bionics. I have a little intro here to tell you what's going on in today's episode. We're just flying with it here. All right, I found that. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you, Radio Sack. Oi, baby eating dingoes is in the chat. I mean, what? A goat ate me, baby? What's going on? A dingo? I don't know. You can read it any which way there. I don't know what's going on. Someone ate someone's baby. I blame the Jews.
Whoop, whoop. Let's jingle the Jews today.
Teal, how could you, Teal? Can't believe you've done this. Okay, all right, let's get into it. Stop staring at me cool little picture there. And I'll pull this one up to the stage. Shout out to Ray if you're listening. I sent you a message pretty late this morning because I fell asleep before sending him the link. So he might jump in. He has the link now. But I sent it to him pretty late. So maybe he's enjoying a sleep in, which he deserves. The man works hard and only gets one day off, and he gets up for my show instead of sleeping in. So shout out to Ray. All right. What you're looking at there is a little booklet, a baby book, not a full book. So I'm not going to take you through fucking 200 pages or some crazy shit. And we're probably not going to clock the 4 hours today. I hope not. Just because, yeah, your voice box don't like it. But I'll just where am I going to put this book so I can read it? Just bear with us here. A little intro here. Well, let me just, I'll fly off. I'll just wing it. See how we go. So in that little opening video there wasn't any talking or nothing, but I did have some text and some cool images to support some of the claims in the text about the Tavistock Institute. But towards the end, just to sort of round out last week's episode and sort of lead into today's episode, but towards the end of that clip, it talked about political correctness, which is like a tumorous cancer growing on the egregore golem that is the mental health agenda. It's one of those terms, those vague terms that they use to like usurp prying eyes and, it sounds nice, mental health, yes, we should be concerned, but secretly they're fucking doing dodgy shit. So this book here, I wish I'd found it prior to last week for Daniel Estlin. It would have been good to have at the same time, but no, it's going to flow on. So now it gets its own episodes. They're good shit. But this book here by Dennis L. Cuddy is actually from 2004. But the dude, like, as I get into this conspiracy research, you just come across some people that are just like, just OGs of the game that were in it like early internet, pre-internet, and you just find these archives every now and then of just so much information. Like whale.to is a good one. Bibliotides, or it's a Spanish website. They're like two massive online compilations of just research and articles, and it's not a pretty looking website, but it's got info. This one's another one I found. I haven't even clicked through it yet, but I'll just show it to you quickly. So let me just realize that I got to share a different screen here. We'll just go to the window, to the wall, to the sweat drop down my balls. Which window do we want? I think it's going to be, I'm in the StreamYard one and I can't see Mates research, so it's going to be the other one. Okay, all right. So pull this one up here. That's a little video on the Fabian city for later, but let me just see if I can get an image of it. Tickle your fancy. Is it there? It's not going to load for me. All right, you can't quite see it, but that is a very strange tower that we're going to investigate a little bit later. Actually, no, the tower's not weird. It's that thing over there. The number got me mouse on. I don't know if you can see me mouse. Fucking creepy. But anyway, that's one of many things that's a bit weird with this Fabian city. So we're going to check out the Fabians because they make an early mention in this this little booklet here we're going to cover. But that was not what I was showing you. I was showing you the Dennis Cuddy archive. Check out this bad boy. There he is there. I'll show you his pretty little head. Low key. Haven't heard the man speak, but I reckon if you just put him up against Ben Shapiro, they look like they talk the same. You know what I mean? Like real fast. Could be a hell of a debate. I think we know who'd win. But yeah, check out some of this stuff. Off the bat, Hillary and media conspiracy. So that's Hillary Clinton. All right, mate, you got me interested. What's going on? We got Trans-Pacific Partnerships. Okay. There's some conspiracy rabbit holes to go down there. We got Common Core, which is going to be adjacent to what we're covering today. I mean, what are we doing here? It's just David Rockefeller and America's best interests in commas there. The House of Orange. Oh, will Israel attack Iran? Oh, fuck. Called that in 2013. Paralee and the Muslim Brotherhood. Holy shit sauce. Yeah, I was reading one of his articles. I actually clicked on it. Is it this one? No. And he said that a bunch of Nazis apparently escaped out to some of the like Arabian states, the Middle Eastern states, and apparently the head of the Egyptian, was it archaeological or like the library or something, was like an ex-Nazi, changed his name and everything, and like he's in Egypt hanging out, like looking after all the artifacts. I was like, that's some pretty weird infiltration, but I can't remember which one that was. So good luck to you trying to find that in all of this. But I'll leave this link in the show notes because viewswithviews.com, Cuddy/Dennis A. This looks like an old website, but fuck, I'm going to have a click on these later on. But that's today's episode. We're going to look at a different part of his work here. So let me just get back to that, which I've now got. Did I share the entire window? Let's see. Oh, it didn't change. All right, bear with us. I've got a couple clips from the 6G Agenda podcast as well today, because he's all over this topic. The 6G Agenda, the title's in it. He's all over, for everything from Michael Aquino to brand new tech to mind control us and everything in between. The dude's a bit of a G, a bit of a 6G, if you will. Fucking making myself laugh. All right. No, clicked the wrong thing. He's a bit of a G, and it's going to be pretty adjacent to some of the stuff we're going to look at today. So we're going to look at this book first. Then we've got that this bad boy here. I think you guys may remember it. I learned this new cool thing here. So when we're in this fucking program, I can show you better. But from here, I can zoom in like a bad boy. Okay, maybe not. Remember the thing coming up last time? There it is. That's what I want. Then you can do this little thing. Fucking. So what I've done is I've sort of like done a bit of cursory research around this top left quadrant here, if you will. A little bit about Project Bonfire and Operation Zombie. What? Got a few patents on the neurophone, invented by a bloke called Patrick Flanagan when he was 13 or 14 years old. And a few other things. So we're going to check that out. And then I thought we could just, as the show gets towards the end, we'll just fucking read some of this and see what we can find here. There's some patents here. I also found a massive archive of voice to skull mind control patents that have been filed, because there's a little bit of controversy around this Edward Tilton bloke here from Silent Sounds Incorporated. So I found the original article making the claims about this. So that might be worth checking out as well. That's what I mean. Like, I thought we could just dive through this at the end. And then as I sort of got through just this quadrant, I realized, holy fuck, it's probably going to have to be a whole episode again. But we're going to have a little tickle of it because I've teased it in other episodes. So bear with us. But all right, let's get into the National Mental Health Program. And I'll just do this one for you. So in this little booklet here by Dennis L. Cuddy, 2004, the National Mental Health Program. I'm going to call it the International Mental Health Program because a lot of the same language, the same programs, initiations, legislation have all come into being here in Australia and many other Western countries around the world, even Eastern countries. Like, a lot of this has gone worldwide. So I'm going to call it International Mental Health Program. I don't think Dennis would mind that. So he calls it Creating New Standards for the New World Order. So I don't know if you guys remember last week, John Rawlings Rees, one of the master wizards from the Tavistock Institute, he sort of was the father of this term, and he I'll keep going with what I've written, all right? In this booklet, it outlines very succinctly the progression of mental health, the idea as a way of usurping the levels of power in society. Last week, we did a bit of a deep dive on the Tavistock Institute and people like Kurt Lewin, group dynamics, psychology, and John Rawlings Rees, we just mentioned. What the fuck's that next word, Alex? Well. And John Rawlings Rees, in this booklet, Dr. Dennis L. Cudley shows just how the takeover was implemented through legislation, the people putting forth said legislation, and the inspiration and discussions and institutions behind it all. Names like Clinton, Bush, Kissinger, organizations like UNESCO, the WHO, WHO, the National Education Association, Tavistock, Fabian, Skull and Bones, Illuminati, and Cecil Rhodians as well. There's a lot in this little booklet here. There's only a few pages, and the pages are short, so we can smash through it here. And what he does is something I notice a lot when I watch shows like Richard Grove. He often will go and find, you'll have the book explaining the conspiracy, and then he'll go and look at some of the works from the people involved in the conspiracy, like, for example, the Rothschild letter to Balfour, asking for Palestine, or many another book written by the bad people of the world, the elites. So that's sort of how this guy, Dennis Cuddy, goes about it in this booklet. He really sort of grabs, from the horse's mouth himself, or the horse self, whatever it is. So he does a good job of grabbing direct quotes, and really laying out just how this term mental health has come about. But it's basically just a fucking egregore, a fucking golem that's been cooked up in the cauldrons of Tavistock and other Hogwarts-esque institutions, if you know what I mean. And they've used that term to bring about many a bad agenda, and we're going to learn all about it. So you've even got a bloke called Dr. Ewan Cameron, who ties in MK Ultra out of his work in Canada at the Allen Memorial Institute. Well, he actually plays a big part in getting this mental health stuff, off and running. So does Kurt Lewin with his group dynamics. That's all going to come up again from last week's episode. And then, introduction of SSRIs. There's so much in this little booklet. So we're just going to smash through it here. And then we'll just see how we go. We'll see how we go. What's going on in the chat? House and Atonics. Why does that sound like my house is electrified? I don't like that. Oh, damn, radio. Illuminati confirmed. Get him, boys. He's in the chat. He's Illuminati. Nah, I'm only joking. Mental health. Yeah, you get it. You get it. I actually use that in my little thumbnail. I misspelt the word on purpose, which could be easily missed with me. You could just assume I'm fucking retarded. So, yeah, double layer joke there. All right, Dingo and me baby. That's everyone in the chat. Let's get into it. The chat is disabled on the other channel. You dirty dogs. Which one? Why? I would never have set up such a thing. No way. Anyway, that's a bit dirty. I don't know if it's Rumble. I don't know who it is, but fuck yeah. All right, we're 37 minutes in and we haven't even got into it. There's some tech gremlins. All right, here we go. So I'm going to do this one here, over here. And we are just going to get into it because old Dennis Cuddy smashes it out of the park. So, yeah, I've got to scroll on this side here. I've got a new setup. It's a little bit how you going. I'm not sure about this lighting. Apparently, hoping my mic stand's going to last as I don't touch it. Okay, all right, here we go. Ooh. So I'll probably read a little bit here first, and then maybe we'll go check out that Fabian city for a breakup. There's not a huge mention of the Fabians in this, but the whole mentality of the Fabians, very much. So it's adjacent, and like a lot of the people here in this book study in places like Oxford and in the UK, so it's relevant. I've even got a couple of projects out of the UK in relation to that Psytronics fucking brain map thing that we're looking at just before as well. So it will connect in. But all right, let's get into it. So the introduction to National Mental Health Program creating new standards for the New World Order. Chucked in new there twice. My bad. Anyway, by Dennis L. Cuddy, 2004. Let's go. Oh, man, that's like 22 years old now. Fuck, I'm getting old. All right, let's do it.
Is that weed?
No, this is a crayon. 911, what's your emergency?
Oh, shit, they're on to me. All right, let's get into it. In the Fabian Socialist, Bertrand Russell's The Impact of Science on Society, he wrote that it is to be expected that advances in physiology and psychology will give governments much more control over the individual mentality than they now have, even in totalitarian countries. Feist laid it down that education should aim at destroying free will. What? So yeah, like a lot of it's got to do with education and, molding the mind of the children early. And we get like the Prussian school model. Well, this is like overlaid on top of that. We already get like 12,000 hours of indoctrination, as Richard Grove likes to say, and he's not fucking wrong there. We do. Well, it's all about getting into the schools, but it also infiltrates like the working world as well, the business world, the adult world. So yeah, it goes everywhere. Okay, so Education should aim at destroying free will so that after pupils have left school, they shall be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished. Diet, injections, and injunctions will combine from a very early age to produce the sort of character and the sort of beliefs that the authorities consider desirable. And any serious criticism of the powers that be will become psychologically impossible. Well, shout out to all of you in the chat. Shout out to your boy here. We're doing the impossible. I'm questioning. We're questioning. You dirty dog, Bertrand Russell, mate. Fuck me dead. I'll slap you around a bit, eh? Fucking, yeah. Man, these bloody fucking people, man, I swear. Who writes a fucking paragraph like that, man? I never. I don't give a shit. I don't want to control the world, man. Just don't give me diet injections and injunctions. In 1976, Francis Schaeffer wrote an extremely important book, How Then Shall We Live? In a 1996 movie, Extreme Measures, Gene Hackman plays a villainous doctor conducting horrible medical experiments on homeless people and killing them. He claims that the ends justify the means and that ultimately society will benefit from his findings. He tells the film's hero, Hugh Grant, if you can cure cancer by killing one person, wouldn't you have to do that? Wouldn't that be the brave thing to do? But Grant challenges Hackman's rationale by pointing out that Hackman never gave his victims a choice as to whether they wanted to volunteer to help society. Amen. Grant states, you're not God. No, you're not. I don't care if you can find a cure for every disease on this godforsaken planet. I added that bit. You tortured and murdered those men, and that makes you a disgrace to your profession. Yep. Not a big fan of Hugh Grant's movies. Fucking some good words there, mate. Still get me coffee in me here, guys. All right. So not usually as extreme as the measures taken in Extreme Measures. Well, MK Ultra would argue the differ. We've been moving down a slippery slope. Over the past several decades, scientists, health professionals, educators, and others have used mental health and education to gain more and more social control over our lives. Often with the help of government and foundations, we too have often had little to say in the matter, with some programs even being mandatory, or some experiments just conducted like without anyone ever knowing. Operation Sea Spray, for example. This booklet portrays how some of this has occurred and is even occurring today. On April 29, 2002, the one and only George W. Bush established the new Freedom Commission on Mental Health, the NFC-MH, which developed a number of recommendations, among which mental health screening for Americans, especially children. And lawyer Phyllis Schlafly, in her November 24, 2004 article, No Child Left Unmedicated, sounds a lot like No Child Left Behind, wrote that President Bush has instructed 25 federal agencies to develop a plan to implement the NFC-MH's recommendations. And on September the 7th, 2004, the US House of Representatives introduced HR 5006, which was later rolled into the larger yada, 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 became public law, yada, yada, yada. In this law, Division F, titled 2, concerns substance abuse and mental health services, which provides funds for mental health, data collection and evaluation activities. Since it was logical to assume this could include mental health screening, your boy Ron Paul tried to amend it. He goes on to try to amend it 3 times and they shoot him down. And he comes to the conclusion that I've gone too far now. Oh, my bad. However, he has once again defeated for the 3rd time. This has logically resulted in the conclusion that Congress indeed does want to allow funds from this public law to be used for mental health screening of children, perhaps even without parental permission. We're going to get into that. To try overcome this, Representative Paul is introducing another one, yada, yada, yada. So I think you might have missed the boat for making a difference in that one. I barely had pubes at that point, so I couldn't have helped. Actually, no, what had pubes? Was that? Fucking would have been 12. Yeah, no, barely. Yeah, just about. I got chest hair earlier than most, fucking, and now it's a mess. Recent developments. This is part one. Show that there is a predetermined connection between mental health assessments and world citizenship. So yeah, that's a what? I can't highlight it in this version. Okay. However, this is more to the use of mental health by the power elite than world citizenship. In Mental Health Volume 1, number 4, October 1940. So this little usurp he's pulling out here, we actually covered that in last week's episode. So I think I don't need to pull it up, but we covered that. We were on the Common Purpose website. Oh no, Expose. Hang on a second. I'll be able to get the name for it here. So if you go to, hang on, other window. Oh, wait, you guys can see it. Nice. All right. So if you go to this one here, Common Purpose Exposed, you can, I think we mentioned it last week. This is like literally the mental health agenda. I didn't know it, but this is basically the mental health agenda, like in action here. It talks about training people and inserting them into all aspects of society. And you can go to the graduations list. But yeah, document written by Colonel J.R. Reese, October 1940, Strategic Planning for Mental Health. Making plans for winning the war. So yeah, anyway, that's how I found it originally, was through this website. But we'll just read what he puts in the book again. So it's a booklet, not a book. So this is the brainchild. This is like when the mental health thing really starts, because you can, he shows you who picks it up from there on and carries it forward. So yeah, this is from the Tavistock Institute by John Rawlings Rees. We can therefore justifiably stress a particular point of view with regard to proper development of the human psyche. Even though our knowledge be incomplete, we must aim to make it permeate every educational activity in our national life. Public life, politics, and industry should all of them be within our sphere of influence. Especially since the last World War, we have done much to infiltrate the various social organisations throughout the country. Similarly, we have made useful attack upon a number of professions. Now, if I'm in the mental health game, if I'm in the well-being game, if I'm looking after my fellow citizens, right? Am I attacking them? Am I infiltrating? No, you're not. What are you talking about, you weird dude? What are you doing? The two easiest of them naturally are the teaching profession and the church. The two most difficult are the law and medicine. I highly doubt that, but that's the way he frames it. If we are to infiltrate the profession and social activities of other people, I think we must imitate the totalitarian and organise some kind of fifth column activity. So I've got another little doco on Ewan Cameron from Canada, the MK Ultra dude. I wasn't going to include it, but his name does come up a bit in this. But the reason I wanted to include it is because they call it a fifth column, but the name of the show is called The Fifth Estate. That's doing the documentary on a bloke involved with fifth column activity. And I just found it weird and interesting. So watch that as well. And you can almost, you get a couple of his patients that are interviewed as well. And you can sort of see like what he was doing to them. Not, you don't hear what he was doing, but you see from their perspective how they would make him feel when they were going to their appointments and when they would see him walking down the hall and thing. It's very interesting. So yeah, anyway, you can sort of get the picture here. I think if you go down, we have often been too spasmodic in our work, and I feel we need a long-term plan of propaganda. I doubt the wisdom of the direct attack upon the existing state of affairs, even though there is a war on, that would still raise opposition, whereas the more insidious approach of suggesting that something better is needed, why shouldn't we try so, and so is more likely to succeed. So they have openly discussed that in all, like, they're aware of how infiltration will and won't work. So this is them, the older government, we care about you. So they They wouldn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like they literally know that we trust them and we think that they care, that we think that they care for us and care about us. And they know that we think that because they train us to think like that in school. So then openly and in their own words right here, they talk about, well, let's lean on that care, that trust that we have fostered, falsely fostered through indoctrination in school. Let's lean on that trust and just fucking trick them. That's what he's saying. That's our plan. All right, so if you want to read the whole quote, we read a lot more than what's in this book in last week's episode, so good luck finding that in 4 hours, but it's there. Oh, before we get any further, what's the chat doing? Gonzo Johnny? I don't even know if I know a Gonzo Johnny in the chat. Apologies if I haven't seen you, or maybe I don't remember. I'm a stoner. What's up, Ronnie Omelets? Oh, man, what's going on? Who else we got? Well, I'm developing an actual new curriculum for the better times. Oh, yo. Oh, you can hang around, Gonzo Johnny. I would love to hear about this curriculum, mate. That's pretty sick. Mostly free for all ages and all levels. It's the trivium, quadrivium in combi with natural. Oh. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I don't know who you are, but you deserve. Well, I do know who you are. You're Gonzo Johnny, but you know what I mean? Shout out to Gonzo Johnny. What else does he say? Also containing how to spot propaganda. Oh, dude, sign me up. Or when you get like it all outlined, come on the show and tell us about it. That'd be sick, man. Well done. That's cool. I wish like that whole quadrivium and that jazz, like fucking when I listen to it, it makes sense. I'll be fucking damned if I could re-explain it though. So props to you, bro. That's impressive. All right, let's get to like a little bit of Chatham House. Fucking that sort of jazz. Oh, hang on. Is that later? Anyway, a new kind of education, the next part. All right. We'll get to the Fabian stuff in a moment. It's not 100% related, but just give me a break in a moment. All right. A new kind of education. At the end of the Second World War, Canadian psychiatrists. So I got beef with psychiatry basically, which is this episode. I think it's a bit of bullshit. The whole SSRI thing is built on a house of cards. They can't really prove the chemical imbalance thing. So not to mention the dark origins of psychiatry and the MK Ultra and a few other things, Artichoke, Project Bluebird. I don't like it, okay? I don't think it's a good science. I don't think we need it. But people like the Fabian Society, people like the Frankfurt School, people like Tavistock, they think we do. So let's keep going. A new kind of education. At the end of Second World War, Canadian psychiatrist Brock Chisholm would pick up Rees's assault on the church in February 1946. So Rees apparently was more concerned with taking over the church with this mental health thing. Apparently that was a bit of tunnel vision. So this Canadian bloke decides to pick it up. A program of re-education or a new kind of education needed to be charted whereby the science of living should be made available to all people, being taught to all children in primary and secondary schools. Only so can we help our children to carry out their responsibilities as world citizens, there's that term again, as we have not been able to do so as of today. We have swallowed all manner of poisonous certainties fed us by our parents, our Sunday and our day teachers, our politicians, our priests, the reinterpretation and eventual education of the concept of right and wrong, which has been the basis of child training, the substitution of intelligent and rational thinking for faith in certainties of the old people. These are belated objectives for charting the changes in human behavior. So when he says they're belated objectives, like, does he mean we don't need them anymore? Is that what he's trying to say? Like they're you know, the reinterpretation and eventual eradication of the concept of right and wrong. I missed the word eradication there. Oh, exactly what he fucking means. So 1946, a psychiatrist who's hell-bent on looking after and curing diseases, is he not? Actively wants to eradicate the concept of right and wrong. What are we doing here? What the? Anyway, we'll keep going. It's just crazy, okay? Chisholm was the first Director General of the World Health Organization. That's the mentality of the WHO. No wonder COVID happened. Anyway, just a few months after his article in Psychiatry, Chisholm's friend Alga Hiss, if that ain't a reptile with a last name like that, I don't know what is. Reptilian. In July 1946, persuaded by the founders of the WHO to stimulate the concept of world mental health by including in their constitution the following definition. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. Logically, with this broad definition of health, it was possible for the advocates of linking mental health and education to claim that it was necessary to promote social well-being. Thus, in October 1954, edition of Mental Hygiene, one finds Education for Mental Health by George Stevenson, MD. It is a transcript of his April 2, 1954 radio broadcast in which he remarked, it may be well to look into education for social action. If such education is to be part of the broader effort to reach a goal, certain steps may be followed to make sure that mental health education has its proper place in the total scheme. The schools stand in an especially strategic position. They are in position to provide a good atmosphere within the school that can counterbalance the reverse at home. The schools stand in a specially strategic position. They are in a position to provide a good atmosphere within the school that can counterbalance the reverse at home. Education for mental health is everybody's business. So you can see, well aware that a good mother and father has some good values and morals, and parenting fucks up their plan. And what do we do now? Oh, kids cry and give them an iPad. That's what they want. The iPad, the AI, the tech is like their super weapon, man. Like that's going to program the fuck out of your child real quick. Real quick. All of the dopamine triggers, the flashing lights, the colors, the subliminal messaging, the poor morals, and like if your kid's watching Mr. Beast, I mean, my God, like that guy is a terrible human being from all accounts. I mean, you know what I mean? Like they don't have the life experience and like the developed brain to at least be aware of the dopamine triggers and be aware that, you know, they just fall right into it. I've seen it happen. Like, so anyway, I'm just going to keep ranting. We'll never get through this. We're not going to smash the whole thing, but I'm just going to show you maybe like the first couple of sections. Maybe we'll flip to the end as well because it's got some good bits there. All right, so education for mental health is everybody's business. Unfortunately, American public schools brought Dr. Stevens' reasoning and increasingly introduced mental health programs in schools across the land. The result of these initiatives soon became obvious. In Mental Robots, 1957, by Dr. Lewis A. Allison, former president of the California Medical Association, so a pretty important dude, he declared, Americans today are deluged. I know that word, and now I've said deluded, and that's all I can think. Americans today are being deluged. Fuck, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. With propaganda. Americans today are being bombarded with propaganda under this disarmingly innocent title of the mental health program. Its robotry objectives, the ultimate destruction of the human individual as a person, the eradication of all traditions, ideas, and moral concepts which he has learned from home, church, and school, and taught to deny, reject responsibility for himself, learned helplessness. That's why we go to school so long, and then we have higher education, because they're just extending the adolescence. Anyway. Taught to deny and reject responsibility for himself and to transfer that responsibility to the group. That is the state. The master plan has been the result of thousands of individuals who have not had the time or the ability to gain a perspective of the ultimate aims of the plan, which they have actively aided in bringing into fruition. Summer sessions in group dynamics, shout out to Kurt Lewin, we covered him in the last episode, another famous psychiatrist. The unfreeze, freeze, refreeze method or whatever it is, you've probably been taught it in business training or HR training, human resources. That's part of this as well. Human resources is a massive part of it, actually. That's how they got into the work industry. Now you can't slap a chick's ass at work. I mean, what are we doing here? You can't say nice tits. You can't say any of this in the office anymore. It's gone to shit. No, treat your women respectfully, okay? I'm just joking. But still, I mean, come on, little tap, you know what I mean? Fuck. Okay, under the direction of a subdivision of the National Education Association, within the fundamental objective to prepare those so trained in the subtle art of propagandizing without seeming to do so. Wait, what was that? Summer sessions in group dynamics under the direction of a subdivision of the National Education Association with the fundamental objective to prepare those so trained in the subtle art of propagandizing without seeming to do so. We played that clip of all the tech wannabe overlords reciting the exact same line about psychological subversion and how you've already given into it, apparently. I feel like it was the spell, but Zuckerberg said it, Jeff Bezos said it, Elon Musk said it. They all said the exact same wording, which sounds like it's a script to me, so somebody else is writing it for them. And when you get into the history of life logged, Jeff Bezos' grandfather being from DARPA, you know what I mean? Like Palantir being like #1 client CIA for so long. Like it's pretty hard to separate these so-called public companies from the government entities that birthed them in the first place. But anyway, the group dynamics mentioned by Dr. Allison related to the Research Center for Group Dynamics, the University of Michigan, and the subdivision of the National Education Association to which he referred was the National Training Laboratories, co-founded by the Research Center and the NEA Division of Adult Education Service. Bro, you had me for 12,000 hours at school. I don't need you to create an adult education service, thank you. There's enough indoctrination at universities and colleges. Come on. In 1962, the NTL published Issues in Human Relations. Here it is, HR training, in which the editors wrote that human relations or sensitivity training fits into the context of institutional influence procedures, which includes coercive persuasion in the form of thought reform or brainwashing. The book also includes information about change agent skills. You want to be a change agent? Sign up now. The government needs you. Fuck off. Unfreezing, changing, and refreezing attitudes. The year after Dr. Allison's book appeared, Congress passed the National Defense Education Act. Oh, got to get the soldiers, which provided for a massive infusion of guidance counselors and testing personnel into public schools across the US. Hang on a second. So the Defense Education Act had nothing to do with defense and only public schools. Anyway, let's read this next bit because I know a lot of you are familiar with this next program. Which provided the Defense Education Acts, which provided for a massive infusion of guidance counselors and testing personnel into public schools across US. And the year after the NLT's book was published, here we go, the first governor's school for the gifted and talented in the nation began. So that's the GATE program. So this, as we get into further, this book or this booklet outlines they're very much interested in tracking dissidents. So tracking people like you and you guys, me, myself, people that question the agenda, the impossibility as they put it. That's their aim. Their aim is to make it impossible for us to question. Well, they fucking are failing, so that's good. So yeah, what's going on in the chat? I'll smash this last page and then we'll check out the chat. We'll have a break, check out some Fabian architecture, and then we'll get back into it. All right, so we've got the GATE program, and we're going to hear some more names that we're all familiar with. 1963 in North Carolina, with funding from the one and only Carnegie Corporation. On May the 6th, 1963, Professor George Welsh of the Psychology Department of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I've also got a clip from Nugget News today. We've got a whistleblower, neuroscientist, psychologist, and doctor from Melbourne University. She doesn't do too much whistleblowing because they start talking about, like she's gone new age. Poor thing. What did I hear the other day? It was a pretty good quote, but basically it's like you haven't figured shit out until you've had two worldviews shattered. So your first worldview, and then a lot of people, tend to jump to the next worldview straight away. And until that one gets shattered, you haven't really figured shit out. So I feel like she's halfway through that. Maybe I'm only halfway through that. The Earth's hollow. I ain't fucking around. I know what's up. I'm only joking. Is it? I don't know. I'm literally beaming from Hollow Earth right now. You see the hole in the cave behind me, so yeah, it's real. All right. Anyway, fucking.
What the fuck, Richard?
Professor George Welsh of the Psychology Department of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill wrote to the Psychological Corporation in New York, indicating that the governor's school. Here at the Governor's School, we are planning to administer an extensive test battery. And on May 10th of that year, Harold Seashore, director of the corporate, I sell seashells by the seashore. Harold, do you want any? No, you can't have any. You're a creepy psychologist. Get away from my shells. Director of the corporation test division replied to Professor Welsh and indicated that if he used their test, we would want a set of the cards filed with us so that we can accumulate information on groups like this over the years. So, mate, even before data centers, they wanted that data, that fresh moolah, that data. Shout out to James Corbett. Data is a new currency. He was fucking calling that one early. But yeah, they want that data, yo. In the writer of this booklet attended that school. So the bloke who wrote this attended the school we just learned about, which was University of North Carolina. The writer of this booklet attended that school in 1963, and among the tests administered to us was the Psychological Corporation's Minnesota Multi-Phasic Personality Inventory. It included 771 statements to which we were to respond true or false. Oh, 77. That just reminded me. Shout out to Mazzy777. Been dropping a comment on like my last few episodes saying very kind words. So I know you watch. So shout out to you. I've been meaning to say that. Appreciate that. Oh, and while I'm on comments, if you're new around here, just click the subscribe. I am one away from 100 on my HPP channel. That'd be nice. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's enough self-promotion. Shout out to Mazzy777. I don't even know the gender, so just shout out to that person. They're a G. Included 771 statements to which we were to respond true or false. And among these statements were the following. So Dennis L. Cudley, very Christian. But I mean, I'll be honest, I come across a lot of Christians, a lot of Bible thumpers to do some good research. So like, Jesus be fucking, carrying them through the light or leading them, or whatever. They're doing good work. So these are some of the questions in that 771 psychological test that Dennis L. Cuddy himself sat through. I believe in the worth of humanity, but not in God. We cannot know for sure whether or not there is a God. One of the most important things children should learn is when to disobey authority. All right, so I'm going to say false, false, true. The finding of science may someday show that many of our most cherished beliefs are wrong. Oh, that's a hard one because I know they fucking use science to lie to us, but I also like the scientific method to find things out. So that's a tricky one. I'm not going to answer that one because I don't want to be one of your subjects. So nonetheless, organized religion, while sincere and constructive in its aims, is really an obstacle to human progress. Sneaky questions. There's some truth in that one too. I mean, organized religion on an international or even national scale, I'd say yes. I'd say an organized church in a local town that holds events and does things for the community isn't a bad thing. Yes, I can dig. That's my answer. All right. Public schools and the psychiatry clinic. So it's going to get into, we've sort of seen the mentality, a few of the people that were like, yo, this mental health thing, bro, I'm going to use that. So we've done a bit of that now. We'll come back to it because it's going to show you some of the funding, the Rockefeller funding and others that helped get this mentality, this mental health agenda into our schools and then pushed onto our kids and then started in the schools, in the kids. And then, of course, those kids grow up and then it's implemented into the workforce. Having already learned some of those thought patterns at school, it gets absorbed a bit easier. So you got to hit the kids first and then implement it sort of on a more broader spectrum after that. It's a long game with these motherfuckers, I tell you. But some of these motherfuckers are from the Fabian Society. So let's switch gears here and let's just check out some cool old buildings and some cool architecture and a dude that knows what he's looking at. Swilliamson from the UK. What's going on in the chat here? Konya Kim, you've snuck in. Good evening and blessings to you too. And your mum, hey. What's up? What's up? Hook them while they're young. Mate, they've known that one for a long time. All right. Greg's onto it. He knows his shit. All right, let me, I'm going to have to stop screen because I didn't download this one. Okay. And I can still click video file like I'm going to fucking pull up this guy. I swear. All right. On this guy. Okay. So entire screen with audio. Oh, I didn't have to do anything. I'm retarded. I had that setting. We're doing it live. Oh, no, wrong button. Oh, my God. Okay, that's enough. Okay. Here. All right, what am I showing you? This one. You can see it? Cool. All right. To get to the hand statue, I'll show you that first. All right, let's get back to the start here. Shout out to Swilliamson. Love his work. Goes around fucking to all the occult places in the UK. Does a little bit of on the ground, research, fucking video making, content creating, informing people of what they're seeing, what they're looking at with a slightly more in-depth eye, if you know what I mean. You can see the layers. Layers of deception. I'm gonna speed him up a little bit too. Just because we can. It helps get the show. I'll let the man cook and just go off screen for a second. So let's check this out. What is going on here? Oh yeah, my bad.
You're in a weird place when the first thing you get greeted by when you come off the train are 3 massive torches. So hello. Today we are going to be exploring the Fabian city, which is actually a town, but they call it city for whatever reason. A place.
Don't know if you saw some pretty questionable lines in the sky behind old mate there. But low key, I was at work. I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, me and my co-host Gus, that's never here anymore. We talk on the conspiracy chat, right? What we like to do is when we see certain questionable lines in the sky, we take photos and videos and send them to each other. Legit, same day, Wednesday, I'm like 200 kilometers away from him. And I'm like, look up. I'm like, dirty dogs. I see a plane making a line. So I send him a photo. As I'm sending him a photo, he's already sent me a video 200 kilometers away. Big dirty line in the sky. Exact same time. If that's not coordination, if that's not, oh, it's just fucking a little bit of water behind the plane, fuck off. All right. Anyway, that just reminded me of that. So blocking the skies from the UK to the US to Australia. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've got this. I found a cool website on that documents all the different companies that do weather modification in Australia, but I might say that for another episode. I wasn't going down that rabbit hole. Anyway, check out this Fabian city.
That was founded by high-up members of the Fabian Society. They wanted to create a socialist, communist utopia in the English countryside. Let's see if they were successful. As you may be aware, the Fabian Society is particularly well represented in our government at the moment. Keir Starmer, David Lammy, Rachel Reeves, Wes Streeting, Peter Kyle, Douglas Alexander, Jonathan Reynolds. The chief whip is a Fabian, whipping everybody into Fabianism. What the hell is that? Pop-up fun park. Oh my God, this is going to be more exciting than I thought. There is something very odd about the layout of Letchworth Garden City, which I will illustrate to you in a moment. So just check this out. Ebenezer Howard, OBE, founder of the Garden City movement, and of course a massive Fabian. This is what they call the three magnets: town, country, and then town country. Look at all these empty promises. Low rents, low rates, low prices, high wages, plenty to do, no sweating. Town and country must be married, and out of this joyous union will spring a new hope, a new life.
So when was it? Sorry, was it Prince Andrew said he doesn't sweat? Is that really a thing in England? Like they put it on. Damn it, it made me laugh while I was having a billy. Anyway, you know what point I'm trying to make. Get off the screen.
A new civilization. It almost sounds like Star Trek. Marxist Star Trek. Yeah, there's some very, very odd buildings around here. But before we go and explore that, we need to go to the continuation of this ley line, or whatever it is, to demonstrate something odd.
Take off. Home point updated.
So can you see this avenue here? This is the continuation of the main axis that runs through the whole town. Let me just spin around and I'll show you. So you can see the main avenue. You might think, why do they continue it off towards the countryside? Does it point to something significant? Is it some kind of ancient ley line? No. The symbolism here is fairly clear, and it is this. It's spider's web. If you look at the original plan for the city, it's an enormous spider sitting on a web, symbolic of the capturing of the people by socio-communism, thanks to the Fabian Society. The Spirella Company of Great Britain Limited, what was apparently their iconic industrial factory for corsets or something, which has lots of signs saying to let and that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure it's not very well used nowadays. Let's go and meet Ebenezer Howard. There he is. What a funny looking fella. His eyes are very close together. It's kind of freaky. Ebenezer Howard, Fabian, founder of a Marxist utopia in Great Britain. It's good to point out that Letchworth Garden City is exactly 33 miles from Charing Cross, which is the centre of London. And its population is 33,000. So just some numbers, I guess. Just numbers.
Illuminati
It's a bit
confirmed.
of a weird sculpture here. Funny little chairs. Chair on a chair, on a chair, on a chair. Very odd. And the things that are most exciting to climb always say, do not climb. It's just real sad. Yeah, the Spirella building. Very odd. One of the chief architects of Letchworth Garden City, who wrote Fabian Tract 109, called Cottage Plans and Common Sense. A reminder that Fabianism is totalitarianism. They're not only doing social engineering to the mass public, but also to the finest detail of how you live in your own house. This is actually the place where all the pamphlets and propaganda were all packaged up. Now an indoor karting centre. But yeah, this was like Fabian propaganda headquarters in the early 1900s. Apparently the early residents of Letchworth all wore sandals, which became known as the Fabian uniform. George Orwell actually commented on them. He said, "That dreary tribe of high-minded women and sandal wearers and bearded fruit juice drinkers who come flocking towards the smell of progress like blue bottles to a dead cat." Like that.
All right, so it's a fucking good video. It goes for like 40 something minutes. Heaps of cool facts as he's walking around. I found that little city town plan and being concerned with what you do in your home to be very apparent to what we're going to get into back in this booklet here. And you can almost fast forward all the way to the technocratic agenda where they want to, you know, itemize everything in your house and know exactly what you're doing, you know, how much oxygen you breathe and how many times you fart for CO2 levels, how much milk's in your fridge, fucking your toaster's got to be connected to Wi-Fi. That's like the same mentality, just fucking fast forward like 150 years. So with that, I thought I could just show you. So like he spends a bit of time trying to get into this like Fabian Castle thing. I can't remember whose property it is. He mentions it, but it's weird. I just wanted to show you this like sculpture thing that he checks out. So and then we'll call it on this video.
Is a Masonic symbol. Another one of these weird obelisk platforms, barbecue platforms. And oh my god, you look at this. I'm sorry, that is the weirdest piece of art I've ever seen. Even if it even is art.
What is that?
It's like a cast of a real hand. The same hand over and over again. I wonder if it was like a special person's hand.
Oh, whose hand do you think it is?
Some kind of sunburst on the top.
Can't be Trump's. It's too. Oh, it could be a little hand.
Thematic, isn't it? Because it's a lot like these spiral staircases, like the spiral Jacob's ladder or something. Oh, they're keeping the pigeons out. That's very sad. I can't get over this hand sculpture though. This is horrible.
That is
really,
the
really
creepiest looking
horrible.
thing I ever did see.
Unbelievable, actually. I don't quite believe my eyes.
All right, that's it for that. That's a good little break there.
Well, we've got very difficult to see, especially if you're colourblind. Looks like one of those colourblind tests, actually. Three diamonds.
So yeah, old mate knows his symbolism. Breaks it down pretty good. I'll have links to that in the show notes post-show, like always. So I wonder if the comments are the same for when I read them last night. Nope, they're different. Why would they do that? It was a nice... Here we go. Found this one pretty interesting. I thought we could just smash through this quickly. I always worried as a young boy in Sheffield. I saw the Rolling Stones, Savile, Rolf Harris, Heath, Thorpe, Mountbatten, the Royals, Astronauts, Constant War, and cowboy and Indian films, Eastern Ranson, the Beatles, the Who, later on Thatcher, etc., regularly on the telly. Now, what connects all of those people? Certain behaviours Mountbatten. The name almost explains it, hey? We went to Austerian Victoria Coffee School under a black-gowned, never-smiling headmaster. Sensed instinctively something was just very wrong, something which often gave me nightmares and still does now and again. Now I know why, perhaps. So that's a young boy visited this town and one of the buildings. And, I forgot to show you the creepy-ass theatre. I got to show you the theatre. Hang on. So he pulls up. So we're in like a Fabian society, right? Oh, now the Jesuit church. Oh, I'll just flick through it quickly. Hang on. It's all coming back to me now. So one's called the Brotherhood Hall that he checks out. I'll just try to get the still images of them for you. So we got Morrison's, not that. Where is it? There it is. What's this?
You've got to keep right.
Oh, we're going to do a couple more. I'm geeking out, all right? I'm geeking out. You know me, I love me Freemason shit, all right? And adjacent stuff, secret societies.
Look. The interconnected O's. That is very occultic, isn't it? That's a clue. Brotherhood Hall with that esoteric symbol. Come on now. What on earth is this?
Oh.
Celebration of the square. In fact, it's like a ziggurat, isn't it?
So that's like either like a bird's eye view of the pyramid or from looking underneath at the pyramid. So I was like, I didn't realize that was pyramid symbolism, but now you see it, you can't unsee it. But yeah, I'll let him keep going, all right?
It's the sideways pyramid. Look at that door. Whoa. There's all sorts of little anecdotal things here as well, like, why is that A like that in cinema? When
look up the Astor family. Astor, that's what that A is about. Anyway.
And the A over there for theatre is a normal A. And then why is this E like that when that is a normal E? Oh, it does have the diamonds as well. That's very Masonic. The Lodger with live score. Why is the R there just leaving Lodge?
The Lodge?
It's just anecdotally strange.
You know where Freemasons hang out? In the lodge? Oh, this is the Jesuit church. Check out this shit on top.
The Church of St. Hugh of Lincoln.
Bro, my family, like, they lived in Lincoln. Oh my God. Growing up, like, I wasn't born. This is like fucking back when they had black and white. Like, they didn't even have color then. Everything was still black and white. But yeah.
That's quite an odd thing above the door. Sorry, St. Hugh.
There it is.
There's the sun symbol at the top.
The sun symbol, but if we just go fucking, I had it open. This one? Oh, got to verify I'm not a robot since everything closed before. Beep boop, beep boop. Beep boop, beep boop. I am not a robot.
He needs some milk.
Excuse me? It's not even the right fucking tab. Yeah, what, are you guys seeing this? Is it because I was making the bebop bebop noises? Oh, what the hell? You know what? How about? It wasn't even the right freaking one anyway. It's because it's on this page. My bad. I'll do this. All of that for nothing. There it is. Looking very, very similar. The Jesuit symbol there. All right, it's just been a bitch, but you saw the picture. There it is there. All right, I'm going to close that window for some processing power. So yeah, I just check out Williamson, man. He does some good work, and that's a good break. Check it out, the Fabians, because we had a quote from a Fabian at the start of the booklet. All right, let's get back into it. Let's get into the juice, because yeah, I was reading this and just mind blown. All right. So let's look how they break it into education. We had a little touch on the human resources part of how it got into there. What's the chat doing? Oh yeah, I saw Greg and fucking Radio Sack were talking like Hermes. Fucking, what else was it? Peter Pan? Anyway, love it. Absolutely love it. Fucking Alex, I also love Freebase and shit. Yeah, what's up, G? Robo Alex, let's go. They change words, meanings, name changes, money change. That's it, man. Gonzo Johnny, bro. It's all perception management. The Wizard of Oz shit, mate. They're fucking always behind the curtain, just fucking whoop, doing little sneaky shit. That's going to come up. That's, fuck. Have you read this, mate? Have you read this? All right. We'll get into it. I've got to remember what page the swastika's on now. I guess I could do this. Ready? You gonna let me control F this son of a bitch? What are we doing here? Swastika. Oh, what's this? Education in Aquarian Age. So down here, although I'll read you the top two paragraphs. So shout out to Gonzo Johnny, mate. He's fucking synchronicities, fucking precognition. He's onto it. Fucking let's go. In terms of 2004 presidential election, President George W. Bush's New Freedom Initiative, it may make little difference who won the election. Why? Why would it make little difference? Well, two wings of the same bird. We all know that. Both President Bush and Senator John Kerry are members of the secret Skull and Bones Society at Yale University. And Senator Kennedy, to my knowledge, raised absolutely no objection to this mental health screening initiative. It is an initiative by the elite who believe they have responsibility to tell the rest of us what is in our best interests. Although Hitler had a plan to put fluoride in the water to reduce individuals' power to resist domination, the swastika is actually a pre-Hitler elitist symbol that has been found in the Skull and Bones vault at Yale. There you go. There is also a swastika on the gravestone of John Ruskin, the mentor of Cecil Rhodes, who formed a secret society of the elect to take the government of the whole world. And that's in Rhodes' own words. Except I butchered it a little bit. But there you go, man. So yeah. Ruskin wrote that the first duty of the state of mind, government, to control the mind, break down the word. The first duty of the state is to see that every child born therein will be housed, clothed, fed, and educated. But in order to the effecting the government must have an authoritarian. No, I'm going to start that one again. But in order to the effecting the government must have an authority over the people of which we now do not so much as dream. Why you be writing weird shit like that? According to award-winning author Alan Axelrod, Ruskin was reportedly a student of the Illuminati. Get this fucking mic up. I'm bloody giving myself fucking spina bifida on my neck here. All right, this is it. Is it going to fail and fall like it did this morning? We're cooking. Why, of all web servers in the US, did George Bush choose Illuminati Online for his presidential campaign in 2000? Look under November 9, 1999. I had a little look trying to find this website. I think I closed the fucking page because it just would not load. Like I was trying to get it on the Wayback Machine. I wasn't having any luck. But apparently he used the web address or like was Illuminati, his campaign, George Bush. Does anyone know about that? Radio Sack, are you a Nazi? Are you gonna make me do this? All right, that's it. I've had this for a while. I didn't want to do it. And by a while, I mean like 2 weeks, but I've had this one. I would do it now. We're doing it now. We're doing it live. This is what you get, Radio Sack. That's what you get.
Everyone needs answers sometimes. We are the place America goes for advice. There is one answer everyone knows. Everything they're looking for.
Don't go there. He's a Nazi. No, I'm only joking. But I had that one cooking for a while, so that's what you get, Radio Sack. I enjoyed that. Sorry, guys. Holy shit. He's on to me. I mean, what? I'm not a Jew. I swear.
3 mandarins. Oh!
That was the wrong clip.
Whoop, whoop. Let's jingle the Jews today.
Always jingling the Jews on the Hollow Perth Perspective. It's easy. You just pick them up and shake them, and like the shekels, they go jingle, jingle. I can't make that noise, but you know what I mean.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was.
Thanks, man. I thought it was a pretty good joke. All right, back to where we were. Where were we now? Education and the Aquarian Conspiracy. We'll probably skip over that chapter. Check out 6G Agenda's work. He's covered a lot of that Aquarian stuff, but I think we're about here. Oh, we might as well cover it. But anyway, let's get into it. We've had the Radio Sack commercial, a message from our sponsors, and we shall move on. Okay. All right. Now, if I just put my little head down there, I wonder if I can zoom in just a wee bit better. No, that was the wrong way to do it. Can we go back? Can. Oh. Very nice, very nice. Okay. Just bear with us a second here. I'm fucking.
We all.
Well, this year, after this writer attended, the public school psychiatric clinic. That's this little segment here. The year after this, writer attended the first governor's school. So where they started the GATE program. This is the writer. He went to the school. The National Institute of Mental Health on February 18, 1964 awarded psychologist B.F. Skinner. We've all heard that name before. And I often think that Skinner from The Simpsons is a little fucking piss take on this guy. And Skinner, if you look up, if you just Google the character that is Skinner, he's like a Vietnam vet, suffers from flashbacks. It's like, oh, mate, was Skinner involved in fucking Operation Phoenix? Was he like a Michael Aquino adjacent kind of dude? I don't know. But anyway, I think when you hear Skinner on The Simpsons there, I think it's a bit of a piss take of this bloke. That's what I always thought anyway. I don't think they say he was based on a psychologist, but Skinner, very much involved in schools. Anyway, Mr. Skinner received a grant for $283,000 in 1964. That's a bit of money. That is a bit of money to be paid over 10 years. Okay, $28,300 a year. Okay, it's not as much. I don't know what 28,000 buys you in 1964. Probably a fair bit though. If fucking loaf of bread's like 50 cents. Might even been a couple of cents then. I don't know. I wasn't alive. I was barely a fucking sperm in my dad's balls at that point. In which Skinner maintained that concepts of freedom and dignity must be discarded. Oh, okay. Rightio, Skinner. And that human behaviour be conditioned by an elite. I am over this mentality. Anyway, there's a lot more of it to come. Not long after the publication of Skinner's book, US Representative Cornelius Gallagher, New Jersey representative, I'm guessing that's what that means, delivered a speech in the US House of Representatives titled Skinnering the Taxpayers. What? In which he stated, we disclosed in 1970 that at least 250,000 American grammar school children are receiving behavioral modification drugs, most often the amphetamines or speed they are commonly called. Yo. My God. That's what does Steve always say? Like, we're like 2 or 3 generations into this now. It's in the water. We've been pissing it into the water. So if you hydrate enough and you live in the right suburb, might be a cheap high. You might also get some mRNA and everything else to go with it. So maybe don't. Filter your water. Filter your water. Our schools are taking on the aura of a psychiatric clinic without the taxpayer's consent. This is from Martin Gross. from a psychological society. The school child is immersed in a psychological environment in which he is cajoled, invited, seduced, and even bludgeoned into seeking counseling. Almost all school psychology personnel are actually laymen. The entire practice of school psychology may be seen as an intrusion of bureaucracy into the family structure. Further schooling counseling may not be legal. In most cases, school personnel may not practice psychotherapy on children. By labeling it as counseling, now, I went to school, we had counselors. They may have invented a semantic subterfuge to circumvent the law. There is no evidence that anxieties, neuroses, or eventual psychosis rate of children is in any way reduced by the school intervention. So I've got a clip from William Ramsey and one of his guests. He's probably not the most scientific person to reference. He's a dude that's written a book on schizophrenia, and he thinks that the messages that they receive are not due to a chemical imbalance, but he says they're coming from outside the mind, and he seems to think maybe it's demonic. I'm wondering if it's got to do with some frequency manipulation. So we're going to touch on that side of it. Voice to skull type stuff. There is an equal possibility that the effort is actually a neurotic stimulus. So he, what was his name? Martin Gross argues that the intervention of counselors, i.e. school psychiatrists, have no evidence that they reduce any psychological issues within school children, and there's actual equal possibility that the effort stimulates neurotic behaviors. That's pretty wild. With our taxes, we are helping poorly trained specialists to tamper with the psyches of an already over-psychologized generation. That's a weird word. But I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it was happening to me as I was like looking at this book and saying the word psychology. I was getting online therapy ads. And I was also getting an ad from the Jordan Peterson University, which I didn't know existed. My God. Have a bit of fun. Look at some of like the short ad or YouTube shorts, like TikTok length videos that he sort of put out. Listening to the rhetoric, it sounds so retarded. I mean, that dude's fall from grace. There's a bloke with the last name Peterson in here who had 4 kids. But Jordan Peterson isn't one of them. But Jordan Peterson also had 3 siblings. I just found it interesting that they're not related, but both Canadian, both in the realm of psychology and mind manipulation. I wondered. I couldn't find evidence that Jordan Peterson was related. But anyway, online therapy shit is next level programming, man. Like, let's just let an AI help me with my therapy. I mean, it's like, and we've seen so many stories of it, like convincing kids to kill themselves or shoot up schools or whatever else. And it's these guys, they're probably dead and buried now. They couldn't have dreamt of getting AI in front of people to give them therapy. I mean, holy shit. And then you combine that with like the electronic stimulus and the dopamine receptors and the manipulation in the light spectrums from the phones on top of the word magic that is psychiatry. I mean, this is a fucking elite's wet dream. It really is. So yeah, let's keep going. Education and the Aquarian Conspiracy. 2 years after Gross wrote these words, The Aquarian Conspiracy, 1980, by Marilyn Ferguson was published, in which she revealed that there are legions of conspirators. Of the Aquarian conspirators surveyed, more were involved in education than any other single category of work. So you'll see that even in today, like the supposed whistleblower clip that I have from Nugget News, where you've got a neuroscientist whose work was predominantly in fear-based research and anxiety-based research. Weird thing to get into. She's from Canada, funnily enough, immigrated to Australia. She's got this weird, like half Australian, half Canadian accent, and it really throws me. And I swear the first time I listened to it, she said she had a Fulbright scholarship, which ties back to MK Ultra Australia. But I re-listened to it and I never heard it. So maybe I manifested that in my mind. But anyway, she still seems sus to me. This is based on the belief that if our children are to be free, hang on, where did I go? So we've got a shit ton of Aquarian conspirators involved in education more so than any other single category of work. A major ambition of the curriculum is autonomy. This is based on the belief that if our children are to be free, they must be free even from us, from our limiting beliefs. On the veteran bureaucrat at the National Institute of Mental Health one veteran bureaucrat at the National Institute of Mental Health said, there is a lot of us in the woodwork. Termites, insects, pests usually hang out in the woodwork. Interesting. So then this is where we learn about the skull and bones at Yale. John Ruskin having it on his fucking stone where he's buried. What do you call that? Your bury stone? Fuck. Headstone. And then we learn about Askerold and Ruskin, Illuminati, all that jazz. So this is part 2. This is where your boy John D. Rockefeller, who was very heavily involved in the funding of the Tavistock Institute as well. And we're going to learn a little bit more about radio and frequencies and stuff. And turns out that the bloke that brought weather modification to Australia and radio frequency research, radar, he has a lot to do with NASA as well, apparently. Edward George Bowen, who was part of the Tizard mission, which was about bringing microwave technology from England, the UK to America, kind of like the Cecil Rhodes agenda, kind of like the Tavistock agenda, kind of like the Frankfurt School, where you have these secret missions from the UK to usurp the American experiment, if you will. And this Edward George Bowen was hanging out with one of the Huxleys as well. And he went and met with Vannevar Bush or whatever, who was the head of the National Institute of Health or whatever under one of these other presidents. So you've got one of the Huxleys through the Fulbright Scholarship funding all the MK Ultra research in Australia. And then you've got another Huxley funding NASA-adjacent radio frequency manipulation technology type shit with Edward George Bowen, who is like, he ends up getting knighted, this Edward George Bowen. He's a big part of the CSIRO, which is like our national security agency. So like you can sort of start to see the connections, not only with the MK Ultra and the mind programming there, but you've got to include the hardware and the software that's part of that agenda, which is like your radio frequencies, fast forward to, 5G, 6G, the Internet of Bodies. Like, so I'm just obsessed with like understanding how it all come to be a little bit, and I like to go a bit into the history. But yeah, so there's all of that to go with this as well. So like that's why, even though this is a very American-centric and I live in Australia, it's not hard to see the same patterns, and you can even see the same names and funding agents operating in my country as they are well established in America as well. So and obviously the UK. So yeah, it's pretty wild. Anyway, the General Education Board, the GEB for short, established by John D. Rockefeller of all people, the senior, was chartered in 1902. And in Raymond Fosdick's memorial history of the board, he indicated it was part of John D. Rockefeller Jr.'s effort towards the goal of social control. The GEB was established the year after the Social Control, 1901, was written by Edward Alsworth Ross. Edward Alsworth Ross, a father of American, okay, he wasn't even English. In this book, Ross revealed that social checks and stimuli are managed by a rather small knot of persons, the elite. Ross revealed that social checks and stimuli are managed by a rather small knot of persons, the elite. That's your word, not mine. I think you guys are just parasites. The parasites. Judgment may be molded as well as the will and the feelings. Okie dokie. The word molded is instructive because in the World's Work, August 1912, one reads The Country School of Tomorrow by the General Education Board Chairman, Frederick Gates, we know that name, don't we? Declaring, in our dreams, we have limited resources. We have limitless resources. That's worse. And the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. Not only was the GEB to be used for social control, but the Rockefeller Foundation as well. And about the same time, before 1936, in the USSR, Lavrentiya Beria, head of Stalin's secret police, delivered an address to American students at the Lenin University. So in 1936, we had American students in a Lenin University in the USSR. And this professor, this instructor, this teacher, she says, as a psychopolitician, that should have been the bloody show title, Psychopoliticians, we must recruit and use all the agencies and facilities of mental healing. We must labor to increase the personnel and facilities of mental healing until at last, the entire field of mental science is entirely dominated by communist principles and desires. What? Huh? So we beat the Nazis, yeah? Or did they win and build the moon base like we learned about a few episodes ago? I don't know. Kind of feels like they got the moon base. You must labor until we have dominion over the minds and bodies of every important person in your nation. You will discover that everything will aid you in your campaign to seize control and use a mental healing to spread our doctrine and rid us of our enemies within their own borders. So we've got supposed American students learning this type of rhetoric in a Russian school. And this ties into like the sharing of technology and studies with the Russians, the Germans, like it's all one big happy family when it comes to controlling the masses. Children of mass psychology. All right, we're just going to keep smashing through this. At the end of the Second World War, the Rockefeller Foundation medical director Alan Gregg began to fund the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, the TIHR, to undertake the kind of social psychiatry that had been developed by the army during wartime and to see if it could be relevant for civilian society. Dr. John Rawlings Rees, a lot of last week's episode, developed the Tavistock method, which induces and controls stress via what Rees called psychologically controlled environments, which includes the economy. Economic shock was one of those, which just slapped me in the face. So when things get expensive and there's uncertainty due to wars or viruses or disasters or anything, when there's uncertainty and it's pumped up in the news, this serves a very good psychological purpose within the Tavistockian method. So the fact that you can't afford shit is not only to keep you down, but it's to fuck with your mind as well. So it's not just a happenstance of poor economic planning, well it is, but the poor economic planning is very much a part of the plan. It's not, it's like I always say, when you watch the news and inflation hits, it's like, it's the same with a weather pattern. They're like, oh, inflation, it's a low pressure system. The inflation's going to blow in. What the hell? Whoa, I didn't see it coming. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like that's the way they look at inflation. Whereas when you read this shit, it's very much a lever of control. Fucking bastards, man. The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. Wow. So HR, Mrs. works in HR. I mean, cheers Tavistock for giving us a job, I guess. Worked closely with the Research Centre for Group Dynamics, mentioned in part 1 of this booklet, which co-founded the National Training Laboratories, the NTL, with a division of the National Education Association, the NEA. One of the primary architects of the NTL, which received an initial grant of $100,000 from the Carnegie Corporation, was Willard Goslin of the NEA's Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development. That's pretty important for like planning for the future, curriculum development. Goslin was chairman of the NEA Yearbook Committee, which, I didn't even finish the Tavistockian method. Sorry, which induces control via stress, which Rees called psychological controlled environments, in order to make people give up their family-held beliefs under peer pressure. Wow. So under peer pressure, what do? We cancel everybody because they won't say that a woman can be a man and a man can be a woman. That's just a very in-your-face example of this mental health agenda. So people are peer pressured into accepting 2 + 2 = 5. You know what I mean? It's retarded. But if you want to fit in, and they understand group dynamics, they understand the power of the crowd. The wisdom of the crowd is one thing they don't use. They use the ignorance of the crowd against us. They use the wisdom of the crowd in terms of AI to fucking plan for our demise. But yeah. Anyway, one of the primary architects, down a little bit. So yeah, Gosling was chairman of the NEA Yearbook Committee, which produced paths to better schools. In the book's chapter, Citizens of the World, one reads, today, citizens of the world, no. Today it has become necessary for the elementary school to be actively concerned with developing the acceptance of world citizenship. The school has its basic objective, the development of intelligent and competent world citizens. So we've looked at how it's very much in previous episodes, and it's something I've mentioned and other people have mentioned long before I started mentioning it, but it's about destroying national identity. And they actually size up like two of the biggest stepping stones, obstacles, roadblocks for their plan is national identity and the family unit. They're the two things that really are the ideas they want to destroy. And they're doing a pretty good job of it now. Like, there's a lot of people that don't even want to have kids. That's one way to destroy the family unit. Don't make any more families. We've got divorce on divorce on divorce on divorce. We've got all of that. So anyway, further promoting world citizenship was your boy, Dr. Ewan Cameron, who on May the 5th of the year, after Paths to Better School was published, delivered a speech titled The Building of the Coming World Order. So I got a clip of this bloke. We're gonna listen to him and watch some people that were his patients, were his subjects, and then we're going to decide whether we want this guy talking about a new world order and why he gets to give speeches that other people listen to. I guess he hadn't been found guilty yet via the MK Ultra trial, so people might not have known. Bullshit. Apparently everybody knew what Epstein was up to, but nothing ever happened. So what we call morals are simply the customs, prohibitions, and rules which are what we call morals. Okay, hang on. Don't talk about the inherent morality that's built into the universe. Watch a kid that's unprogrammed. Just be a kid. You'll see them act pretty morally, you know, like they don't often engage in racism. They don't often engage in prejudice. They often want to help a lot. Kids come out pretty like morally aligned, if you ask me. Anyway, that's what these fuckers do to us as we grow up. It fucks with us. What we call morals are simply the customs, prohibitions, and the rules which a society maintains at any given time. I guess to an element that's true. According to history, we used to do a lot of sacrifice. We used to do a lot of weird things that weren't very humanistic, weren't very kind to our fellow man. So we're told. But supposedly these morals are very malleable. The United Nations organization deserves the support of all who are concerned with the building of a new world order. So the MK Ultra crazy scientist man torturing people has the audacity to talk about, in a speech, the building of a coming world order, in which he pronounced, what we call morals are simply customs, prohibitions, and the rules which a society maintains at any given time. The United Nations organization deserves the support of all who are connected with the building of a new world order. There can only be one education anywhere on the earth, and that education is for world citizenship. 7 years later, Dr. Cameron would become president of the American Psychiatric Association. A Canadian experimenter becomes president of the American Psychiatric Association. And in that same year, Fabian socialist Bertrand Russell, in his work, The Impact of Science Upon Society, was published, in which he explained, I think the subject which will be of most importance politically is mass psychology. Huh? Although this science will be diligently studied, to which no evidence will be provided, or cures, just medication and management, it will be rigidly confined to the governing class. The populace will not be allowed to know how its convictions were generated. We're finding out right now. Aha. When the technique has been perfected, every government that has been in charge of education for a generation will be able to control its subjects securely without the need of armies or policemen. It's a bold proposal. The populace will not be allowed to know how its convictions were generated. When the technique has been perfected, the MK Ultra is a part of perfecting that, bringing in AI and all of this other manipulation on top of the subliminal messaging and the neuralistic programming and everything else, peer pressure and economic shock. When these techniques have been perfected, every government that has been in charge of education for a generation will be able to control its subjects securely without the need of armies or policemen. It will teach them to love their servitude. Shout out to fucking Orwell. Educational propaganda with government help could achieve this result in a generation. There are, however, two powerful forces opposed to such a policy. One is religion, the other is nationalism. Oh, okay. He says religion. I think it's a strong family union. But hey, the church is your home. If two or more gather in my name, it is a church. It doesn't have to be an actual church. A scientific world society can be stable unless, a scientific world society, it needs more emphasis, a scientific world society in 1953, saying the same shit Peter Thiel and bloody Elon Musk are saying, and fucking Yuval Noah Harari or whatever his name is, Klaus Schwab, all of them. A scientific world society cannot be stable unless there is a world government. Oh, I've done it again. There's more to read. Just got to scroll down. Russell mentioned religion as an obstacle to their grand design, but remember, in part one of this booklet, Dr. John Rawlings Rees indicated they had made a useful attack upon the church already. One way in which the attack upon the church was pursued by its enemies was via introducing collectivism. And in that regard, Edgar C. Bundy's collectivism in the church is instructive, as he explained. Because mental health has become available as a lever to be used for promoting political and ideological designs, a word on the subject is in order. People who are normal in every sense of the word, but who hold unpopular political ideas such as opposition to world government and the United Nations federal aid to education and socialism, are now being branded by their opponents as lunatics, as conspiracy theorists, as nuts, as idiots, as soy boys in their basement. Sometimes that's true, but some of the mental health legislation, which has been recently introduced on the state and federal levels, gives such a wide latitude of interpretations to psychiatrists and politicians alike that it is conceivable that anyone who takes a stand for the sovereignty of the United States in favor of congressional investigations and in favor of states' rights could be committed to an asylum in order to silence opposition. So if you look into the history of most of your nations, there'll be some stuff like schools for the natives, or things like the stolen generation here in Australia, where they separate parents from kids and they even separate siblings and they don't speak their native tongue. We also have a pretty big asylum history here in Australia, like you do in the US as well. And there's even like a Royal Commission-esque type thing from way back when, where they did some looking into the behaviour and treatment of the behaviour of the staff towards the patients in these asylums, and it's pretty dark shit. So it seems like post-Tartarian reset that everyone talks about, you know, orphan trains and all that jazz. There was a lot of asylum stuff going on. Your boy Sidney Jeffries, radio transmitter extraordinaire with his special crystal that he took to Antarctica to set up 2A radio for the first time ever. When he got back, He was seemed like a normal dude. He wasn't part of like the Masons, for example, which some of his crew was. He wasn't part of the Masons. And when they got back to mainland Australia from Antarctica, which is a fucking journey and a half in itself, you're probably you're pretty burnt. You're pretty spent after that. It's not as an easy trip as like your boy, who was the guy that just fucking, I'm not going to make a joke about the people that passed away, but he got back and they didn't send him home. They sent him on a train to a different town. He had reported that they had hypnotized him and used other methods of potential mind control on him. And he ended up in an asylum on the other side of the country from where he lived, or at least in another state. And all of his letters sent home were intercepted. So his family didn't know what happened to him. And he was just slowly forgotten into time. But that was the use of asylums, like late 1800s, early 1900s. So when I see the word asylum, I don't like it. And we just heard all of that. So yeah, actively discussing that we need to lock up dissidents. But before we go any further, because I'm just getting on rants now, I think we're only going to get to like page 17 was my aim. It's like halfway through the book, a little bit less. I'm going to pull up a couple of clips that will just sort of support what I've been doing. Give me a break and a chance to check out this chat, see what's going on. Greg Dubb's still hanging out. What's up? Gonzo Jommy. Gonzo, you just... Ether is fine. I can get around Ether. Cosmic comedy. We're living in one of those. We are fucking living in one of those. All right, so on the topic of... Now I'm in the wrong folder. On the topic of... SSRIs and some of the justification for the biochemical means for human control. Actually, no, let's play a different clip first because we're going to read that, so it'll make more sense then. I've got this one. This is from the 6G Agenda. Shout out to Clinton from the 6G Agenda. Been doing some good work. He's been blowing up. I've seen him on Conspiracies and Unpopular Culture with Isaac. He even got himself on the episode before 1000 on Tinfoil Hat. So my boy's blowing up. He's doing good work. But he's done a pretty good. It was actually like literally like 2 days ago, this interview. But we sort of touched on in previous episodes, like the Dark Enlightenment, like the Joe Rogan, Matthew North episode I did on the whole, like the misinformation corporation, the dark origins of potentially Alex Jones and Joe Rogan and fucking like Michael Aquino and the PSYOP division and, you know, Mind War, Psywar, all of that. Well, this Dark Enlightenment stuff, kind of how like that seems like a new idea, like it's a new thing that's sort of like your Jordan Petersons and your Eric Weinsteins, and obviously the Dark Enlightenment was pushed on shows like Joe Rogan and the Joe Rogan sort of sphere. You know what I mean? Like there's this weird semi like comedian / science / like what do you call it, philosophy fucking circle that's around him. It all seems to be a bit shady, but that's what's around him, if you know what I mean. And well, turns out that Dark Enlightenment shit isn't really an original idea. Kind of like how they want to control us, like the Peter Thiels, the Mark Zuckerbergs, and the Jeff Bezos. Like in that clip that Steve's played a couple times on his show. Now I've played it on mine. Steve from AM Wake Up, that is. Of them all repeating a script. So it's like the ideas that they present to us aren't even really their ideas. They're ideas of somebody else. They're just talking mouthpieces. Well, even the Dark Enlightenment idea itself isn't the brainchild of that fucking weird clown-looking dude, Eric Weinstein, with his fucking curly-whirly hair. Creepy fucking dude. One too many warts on his face. I shouldn't attack people's image. His character's what issues me the most. Anyway, it's not even his idea, the Dark Enlightenment or whatever the hell was. What do they call them? The Dark Horses of the Apocalypse. What did they call themselves when COVID was going on? Because they were like the vessel of truth. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Well, let's look at the origins of that idea, because Henry Kissinger, tied up in like all of this jazz that we've covered in the last 2 weeks in regards to the Tavistock Institute, mental health agenda. So let's just play this out. Give me a break from reading. And yeah, just hitting it out of the park 6G agenda. So let's go.
1,000 points of light with the X. And you think of, Bush, H.W. Bush, and how he talked about a new order of the world, 1,000 points of light will rule the world. And his dad funded the Nazis. And what did Hitler say? He called a new world order. So I think this is a multi-generational connected thing.
Yeah, wow.
Right.
Bush did say that. I
Yeah,
remember.
so when you look at this and you think about that, you put it all together, and then you look at this town and what it is, it starts to make a lot of sense what this dark enlightenment is pushing for. And who is in the dark enlightenment? Elon Musk, right? We just talked about him. You have Peter Thiel, right? And of course, we all know about Peter Thiel. So it's like so obvious what's going on here, right? So,
Who came up with the name Dark Enlightenment? Is that just like where did that come from?
we could look at, oh, wait, I thought I was sharing this screen. Here, hold on a second, because I want you to see this image here. Sorry. Let me look that up real quick. But here, look at this while I do. You see that image?
No, I don't see it. Nope. It says the Dark Enlightenment, also known as the Neo-Reactionary Movement, or NRX, is an anti-democratic, anti-egalitarian, and reactional philosophical
Curtis Yarvin
movement.
made it. Yeah, Curtis Yarvin created it. That's his thing. And again, that's the Curtis Yarvin's Dark Enlightenment.
Yes, Curtis Yarvin.
And so the same people who wrote, like, again, I talked about Susan's husband, who's connected with Google, the CEO of Google. He co-wrote a book with Kissinger, okay? Kissinger and him co-wrote a book called Genesis. First of all, do you see the symbol here?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So let me look up the Genesis book. We're going to come back to Praxis in a second, but I want to tie all this together. Genesis by Kissinger. So if you look at this book, the image on the book is very similar to what I just showed you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a rainbow color, right? The light spectrum. And who's on it? You have Eric Schmidt, Craig Mundy, and Henry Kissinger wrote this book. Well, Eric Schmidt was like a CEO of Google, connected with the husband, of course, of Susan Wachowski, who, again, these people are all connected with this light and mind control and DNA study. And we just said light and genetic modification is how you do mind control. So it all connects here. And in Genesis, by the way, I forgot to mention, this is what I was going to say. In this book here, Kissinger talks about what a dark enlightenment is. And he says that the dark enlightenment will be created by the AI, because we're going to essentially give all of our, I need to go look at what exactly he said. I don't want to misword him, but he essentially said that the dark enlightenment is us devolving in our understanding of reality and knowledge because of our usage, not even of AI. I forgot what he said it was from, but he said it'll create a dark enlightenment. And he's talking about this idea. It's different than what Curtis Yarvin says.
So like a society that's like just not active, like a society that's dumbed down, like what do you mean?
An animalistic, yeah, like kind of. Let me go ahead and pull that up, because let me see here. There's only
Who said it?
Huh?
Who said it? It was Kissinger.
Yeah, and you could probably find it on AI, honestly, because he doesn't have. I found his PDF right here. Okay, let me look it up. Control F. Dark Enlightenment. Okay, let's find this.
Yeah, I'm curious.
All right, give me 1 second here and I'll pull it up. Because when I read this, I was like flabbergasted, because I'm like, oh, everybody's understanding of what the dark enlightenment really is like flawed, because they just think of Curtis Yarvin, but he explains what a dark enlightenment is to him. Let me see here. Dark enlightenment. Come on, I know it's in here. Okay, here it is. Okay, here it is. Found it. AI's objective capacity to reach new and accurate conclusions about our world and inhuman methods not only disrupts our reliance on scientific method, as it has been pursued continuously for 5 centuries, but also challenges the human claim to an exclusive or unique grasp of reality. What can this mean? Does that make sense? So we've relied on the scientific method for understanding our reality for a long time. But as we use AI does not have the capacity to do that, right? It runs simulation, does simulations based off data. What can this mean? Will the age of AI not only fail to propel humanity forward, but instead catalyze a return to a pre-modern acceptance of unexplained authority? In short, are we or might we be on the precipice of a great reversal in human cognition, a dark enlightenment? That is, to me, the definition of the dark enlightenment. It is us relying on and accepting unexplained authority. The spiritual hierarchy, or these CEO kings, are going to tell us what to do through the programming of AI.
So that's what he's saying. That's basically
he's saying it's a possibility. He's not saying it's going to happen, but he's saying it's a possibility. Because you got to understand,
they're going to be exposed.
You got to understand, he supports AI. He supports this whole thing.
Right.
But he's saying, is it possible that we're going to rely so much on AI that it could actually be controlled by people who could essentially exert their authority over us through changing what our understanding of reality is, because our understanding of reality will be rendered through AI. People in college right now are learning about, you know, whatever through AI, and then they're forgetting everything, right? And so my point is, it's this idea of you're building your basis of understanding of reality off of something that can't experience reality with you, and it's been
Radio Sack. Hang on, am I muted still? Radio Sack. You've touched on a couple of things with some of your comments here that are in this book. So like we've got early brain chip interfaces in this book here as well. That's part of mental health. Crazy. Yeah, I know. And we've also got health passports and tracking dissidents as well, which sort of all ties into all of this. But I'll let this clip play out.
programmed by people. And so he's saying, is it possible that this would be a reversal in human cognition leading to a dark enlightenment? And I think that is exactly where we're headed.
As for your mum, I can see you're taking action in the real world, working on the mill. I'm glad to be in your ears as you're out there fucking doing some freedom-oriented hands-on activities. I like it. I like it. I think I actually shared the wrong clip, the wrong comment from you. Whoops. Anyway, he said he was fucking making some what do you call it? Ammunitions and some weaponry upgrades. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Gotcha. Okay.
Maybe
I
not
see what you're
ammunition,
saying.
just weapons
I see what you're
upgrades. I
saying.
don't know.
Right.
Allegedly, I don't know what the legal things are.
That's the definition of dark enlightenment to me. Now, Curtis Yarvin has hijacked that in Elon Musk and all them. And I don't really know what their whole purpose is besides being the unexplained authority, as it says right here.
Well, how would Elon get dragged into it? You know, like his position.
He calls himself Dark MAGA for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
But also, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel are connected pretty closely. They both started PayPal together. And Peter Thiel has quoted and talks about Curtis Yarvin being like an influential thinker in his life. And so he's close with Elon Musk. And then they both have this dark MAGA, dark enlightenment kind of concept. And they're both accelerationists that want to end democracy and implant this AI government, technocratic state. And so, yeah, they're super interconnected here.
I see what's going on. I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
There are partners that created the money app to then.
You basically got 1 degree of separation there from Henry Kissinger to Peter Thiel is what he's laying out there through Curtis Yarvin.
Circle back around.
And that's where things like the dark enlightenment come from. And in the Joe Rogan versus Matthew North episode, there's a good photo that Matthew North found that I included in the show. And it's Peter Thiel, Eric Weinstein, Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, a couple of other influential people, all sitting around a table discussing things like maybe the dark enlightenment and the technocratic overthrow. So they're all well acquainted, these people.
To the money app again,
Yeah,
like
dude.
in my opinion, but they're going to drag our AI into
Add to
it.
this.
They're going to drag this stuff into it. You see what I'm saying? Like,
How did Palantir get created? If you go listen to Joe Lonsdale, he said he created Palantir because they had a lot of fraud on PayPal. So they had to create some kind of security system on PayPal. And that became Palantir, dude. So to your point, it went money, security, technocratic police state, back to money, security, technocratic police state, right? So yes, you're exactly right, dude.
Right. It's going to circle back around to where it started. Oh man, they're going to drag a bunch of other things, new technology.
Yes.
into all that. That's wild, man.
Let's get back to that praxis explanation that we were gonna. Yeah, dude, it's just insane how all this interconnects. And again, go listen to my episode with Tim Constantine on his show. We talked about praxis and their Nazi ties.
So he's talking about like praxis, the patchwork, CEO kings and all of that, but hitting it out of the park with his research there. And Henry Kissinger and Eric Schmidt, the brainchild of the Dark Enlightenment idea. That's interesting. So let's jump back to the booklet here, and we're gonna work our way towards like the voice to skull. This one here we're gonna work in as well from your boy Radio Sack there. We heard his infomercial earlier in the show. Radio Sack. I can't remember how it went. But yeah, this is fucking a pretty well-made website. That gives me fear already when I read what it says on it. It says, at Neurobionics, we developed a new kind of neural interface using hair-thin, flexible bioelectric fibers that seamlessly integrate with the human body. Now, have you guys watched any of the embalmer videos on what's happened to people that died suddenly, if you know what I mean? What the fuck? What is this, Radio Sack? So So this will tie in a little bit to what's still in this book here. So let me just fucking bring this one back up. But first, this is an important part because this is also part of the agenda. This is the elimination of parental consent. So let me just do a little one of these. Oh, if I press U. Hang on. So that was a shortcut, didn't it? Does it control U? Oh. It says U there. Anyway, we'll zoom in once more. So this is back to a little bit of legislation because, yeah, Hillary Clinton, George Bush signed off on a lot of these implementations of the mental health agenda for the New World Order. They say it. Like multiple people say it. The mental health is the New World Order agenda. Anyway, it'll get into like the gender stuff later on. We're not going to cover it. You all know how obvious the gender agenda is. But in 2003, Illinois passed Children's Mental Health Act, requiring mental health screening for all Illinois children through the age 18 and all pregnant women. This links with the current federal New Freedom Initiative. The Illinois law requires Illinois Children's Mental Health Partnership to work with the State Board of Education in drafting social and emotional development standards for incorporation into the Illinois learning standards and developing assessments to measure children's progress against social and emotional development standards. This requirement is to meet federal No Child Left Behind, which we touched on last week, standards, especially in the latter's safe and drug-free school section. The mental health merged with the NCLB standards test. Actually, that's the National Curriculum Learning Board or something. Anyway, standards tests in Illinois by Karen E.R.F., who is on the Education Watch Board of Directors. So this Karen woman is talking about all this. And in case you think parents will be informed about all that transpires in Dr. Effen's paper mentioned above, one reads, the report that serves as the foundation for the Illinois law recommends on page 33 of all pages to change the state mental health code to increase to 12 the number of times adolescents ages 12 to 18 can receive mental health services without parental consent. So I don't know what the amount of times a child was able to receive mental health services before the parent was consented, but this sort of leans into now where you'll have teachers who openly call the kid by their opposite gender name that they have been convinced they are while at school, and they're also told not to tell their parents that the teacher calls them this at school. We've seen examples of that. So like this in 2003 was setting the foundation for behavior like that to permeate through our schools, if you know what I mean. So 12 times an adolescent between the ages of 12 and 18 can receive mental health services, programming services without parental consent. That's fucking insane. What are they, 15-minute consultations, half an hour consultations times 12, 6 hours? The idea of doing this to children without parental consent is not new. In 1970, the White House Conference on Children and Youth resolved that society has ultimate responsibility for the well-being and optimum development of all children. So not the parents, society's responsibility. The time has come to re-examine such fundamental issues as the extent to which a child is entitled to seek medical and psychiatric assistance without parental consent or over parental opposition. The idea of keeping things from parents is not new either. As in May 1995, a form was sent to teachers from the Early Childhood Development Enrichment Center in Illinois, the ECDEC. The form referred to specific students served by the ECDC and stated, please be sure not to send this form home to parents. What? In case you think this type of secrecy only occurs in Illinois, the family life curriculum for North St. Paul Maplewood schools, grades 4 to 6, so young, in Minnesota, warned its teachers in order to preclude the kind of public relation problems that sometimes arise, do not send any classroom materials or tests home. Oh my God. And Georgia State Department of Education publication and a Georgia State Department of Education publication psychological education contained a group contract which was to be read aloud by students and signed in front of a special class or group meeting and closed with the words, "I will keep these meetings private and will get the permission of a group member or of the group as a whole before discussing what happens here with my parent or my teacher." Yo, why would the public schools not want parents to know what was happening with their children at school? In general, the attitude was summed up by Nebraska State Senator and future Congressman Peter Hoagland, who on April 12, 1982, in Omaha on Channel 6 television declared, "What we are most interested in, of course, are the children themselves. I don't think any of us in the legislature have any quarrel with the right of Reverend or the members of his flock to practice their religion, but we don't think they should be entitled to impose decisions or religious philosophies on their children, which could seriously undermine those children's ability to deal in this complicated world when they grow up." So then it gets into an assault on Christian values. This bit's interesting. But also, just to, like, we're not going to read it, but just there it says, it's just basically sexual behavior and prevention of illegal drugs being used to usurp education. Anyway, one of the primary goals of the power elite in using mental health and education for social control would be to determine who are the resistors to the New World Order, the New World Order socialist government. Of course, in determining who the resistors are, a comprehensive database including every person will be essential. Digital ID, Internet of Things, Internet of Bodies. This is already happening in Great Britain, as in all children to go on Big Brother computer. So yeah, they got a whole like massive computer program way back when, keeping all the records on Great Britain. And this makes me think of like, was Albert Borer the head of Pfizer, or was it actually Benjamin Netanyahu who said Israel was a testing lab and we have shared all that data? Anyway, a national database containing confidential details about every child under the age of 18 in Britain is to be set up by the government, and the identifying number will be assigned to each child so that the authorities can access their records. This central electronic register will hold information on a child's school achievements, GP and hospital visits, police and social service records, and their home address. It will also include information on their families, such as whether parents are divorced or separated. The database will be designed to identify problem relatives, including aunts and uncles who have a history of alcoholism or drug use. Government believes that the move will help social services and police to identify and protect children who are at risk of abuse or neglect. Critics claim it amounted to intrusive Big Brother style authoritarianism and would be an invasion of civil liberties. Doesn't matter, it happened anyway. So then it goes into, actually we'll keep going because this is some juice. All right. In case you think government officials wouldn't think of keeping extensive data on people in the US, okay, fast forward to 2026, we know they do. A front page article, Uncle Sam has all your numbers, in the Washington Post back in 1999, quoted attorney Robert Gelman as warning, all of a sudden we're on the verge of creating a central file on every American. And a few months later, an Investor's Daily business editorial, Are Your Medical Records Safe? Stated, that's the title, we move one step closer today to that Orwellian world where Big Brother knows everything about you. In this case, all of your personal medical information. The editorial was referring to the Clinton administration's proposed unique health identifier that would let the government identify and track everyone's personal medical records. And where would the government get a lot of their data for the files? Most people don't know, but for decades, the National Center of the Health Statistics has maintained a database that includes all health statistics for the US and territories, including birth, death, marriage, divorce, use of contraceptives, sterilizations, cause of death, etc. At this point, you might say, well, the government might keep general statistics on the use of contraceptives, but they don't know if I personally am using any. That is all about to change. Current products have a UPC or barcode that is scanned at store and simply identifies the product's price. However, that is soon to be replaced with a RFID radio frequency identification, which will be able to identify a specific item, a specific packet of contraceptives, and link it to the person buying it with the store card or credit card purchase. Interesting. For more information on this technology, go to spychips.com. I don't know if that website's still up. A lot of the websites aren't anymore on this. There may be some of you who would say, well, at least the government would keep all of my medical records confidential. The US Department of Health and Human Services called for public comments on its plans for a national health information network. This would establish an interoperable, easily exchange electronic health records for all citizens. In other words, accessible by anybody. One of the main purposes of this network is to improve advanced biosurveillance methods. So like this is pre-9/11, this discussion. But then the effect of the NHIN would be to eliminate individuals' freedom to give or withhold their consent before their health information is released to others. So then it gets into like Russia and NATO and some of the ideologies around that, like the Ford Foundation or the tax-exempt organizations that were funding a lot of this shit back in the day. And then we get into, like, read this bit from a Rhodes Scholar. Proof of other high-level government officials promoting world government can be seen in the words of Rhodes Scholar Strobe Talbot in the Time magazine, July 20, 1992, where he asserted that perhaps national sovereignty wasn't such a great idea after all, and that the case for world government was clinched. Talbot, who would become number 2 at the State Department under President Bill Clinton in 1933, won the World Federalist Association Norman Cousins Global Governance Award. They have a Global Governance Award. My God. And President Clinton, Talbot Rhodes' scholar roommate at Oxford University. So he was number 2, head of the State Department under Bill Clinton, and they went to university together. And one of them is a Skull and Bones member. Golly gosh. Wrote a congratulatory letter to the WFA stating that Cousins had worked for the world government, that Talbot merited this recognition, and President Clinton wished the FAA future success. If that doesn't tell you who and what and where their agendas align, I don't know what will. So we'll scroll through a bit further to the treatment of antidepressant and psychotic drugs. Sort of touched on that already. The decade of the brain. This is like George Bush. It's just more like it's worth to read this. So I'll have it in the show notes for you because we can't cover it all today. But I just wanted to get to the last little bit I wanted to share. Here we go. What's this? Is this health passports? Pre-COVID? What? Nothing new under the sun with these guys, I tell you. In addition to the Tavistock smart cards being passports to employment, Americans will also have health passports. So this is like a test run of what they tried to push on us in COVID. So federal and state agents. So it's good to see that like there's always a bit of resistance to these agendas. They don't flow as easily as they state in some of these speeches and in their books. But one thing is for sure, they fucking get up and keep trying. That's the fucking perseverance, I guess. Just you're rich enough. Like, why do you need to control the mind and every aspect of our life? You have all the castles, you have all the land. Just like go eat caviar and fuck off. Like, why? Why do you need the demons? I'm telling you. Why? In addition to the Tavistock smart cards being passports to employment, Americans will have health passports, federal and state agencies, as well as others, including the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation mentioned earlier in this booklet, have already sponsored the Health Passport Project piloted in Nevada, Wyoming, and North Dakota. So this one I did actually do a bit of research on, just to see if it was actually a thing. I believe it's and if you don't think any of this testing of psychological manipulation is going on at the moment, you've got Meta, $1.4 trillion penalties for making Facebook and Instagram addictive to children and misleading the public about the platform's safety. And then you could rewind to 2014, the emotional contagion study. Controversial experiment, Facebook researchers manipulate the news feeds of approximately 689,000 users for 1 week. And so these are the times they've been caught. And there's even a couple of others. Manipulating us through, mental health, suicide prevention. I'd argue that since we've had suicide prevention type discussions and legislation implementation and HR type, programs and fucking ways of doing things, since suicide prevention has come about, I swear suicide has only gone up. It's like the number one leading cause of death for men. It is in Australia, suicide. So all of this awareness has a dual effect, I believe. The old dual use technology. But this isn't what I was trying to show you. I was trying to show you. Where is it? No. Might be the other page actually now, let me think. It is. No. Anyway, it was a thing. I did research it. They definitely did do a pilot program. You have to word it very correctly because the AI will say there's no evidence that they were ever doing it. But if you get it right, the AI will summarize it for you and then you can go and click on some links and shit. So yeah, it definitely happened. The project included health passport smart cards, which can be used at any participating clinic, doctor's office, or grocery store. In announcing the project, the Western Governors Association Public's Office in 1998 stated, the health passport smart card will provide portable computing capability and will ensure convergence with financial and retail industry plans for a universal transition to smart cards by the year 2000. Thank God that didn't work straight away. But Elon Musk wants everything to go through Twitter. They want your biometrics linked to your fucking bank. You've already got bank apps tracking your purchases without your consent, which is a pattern we see a lot of these things with these things. So yeah, the big picture network services as providing a foundation for improved governance in healthcare, education, public assistance, criminal justice, and other spheres of public and private endeavor. The health passport is an important component of broader strategies to develop such networks. So I just want to show you one more link because we mentioned Peter Thiel, Jordan Peterson, Eric Weinstein, both the Weinsteins, Joe Rogan sitting at a table. And I'm pretty sure there was another guy sitting at the table, or at least he hangs out with them. And that guy was Robert Kennedy Jr., brainworm dude. He gets a mention in this book. And what did he say, everyone? We would all be wearing wearables. And how much did he flip the Maha thing? And they approved like glyphosate and MNR. Like Robert F. Kennedy promised many things and hasn't delivered on a lot of them. And I think we might know why, because he comes up in this. So that'll be my last from this book. Okay. Helps if I spell his name right. Okay, I'll just put Kennedy, because it's been a fucking gypsy to me right now. If I've not spelled it right, go Robert. We're doing it live. What about RF? Oh my God. I know I read it. I did spell Kennedy wrong. That'll be why. That's it. I know I read it. No, I did. You joking me right now? You joking me? Youth programs. Oh, I read it somewhere. Damn it. Oh, no. Wait. Mongers. Anyway, he's in here somewhere. But I will just show you this last little bit here. Education against hate. So, I mean, yeah. How will all nations, this last little bit, sorry. And how will all nations of the world be brought into compliance with the plan? On September 29, 2004, Senator Hillary Clinton, Representative Nita Lowry in the US House introduced Section 28062, Education for All, in 2004. In a UNESCO news item about the bill, Representative Lowry is quoted saying, "This isn't just about education, although it is important that this initiative focuses on our attention on a glaring global problem. Today, children are either not being educated or educated to hate." So what we've seen, you know, the hate narrative being manipulated a lot. You could say anti-Semitism, but just the hate narrative with racism and hating all women and hating all men. And a lot of that comes out of this same mental health agenda. And then just to show you a little bit about the actual gender agenda, you've got some stuff from the UNESCO here. In terms of values, UNESCO, which the US recently rejoined in 2004, apparently, when this book was written, has had a philosophy of moral relativism regarding human life since its inception. As in UNESCO, this is one of its publications, its purpose and philosophy, 1948. One reads, even though it is quite true, my bad, even though that it is quite true that any radical eugenic policy will be for many years politically and psychologically impossible, openly stating they want eugenics policies at UNESCO here. So it'll be for many years politically incorrect, for argument terms there, to use their terms, to be honest. It'll be politically incorrect and psychologically impossible for radical eugenic policies. But it will be important for the UNESCO to see that the eugenic problem is examined with the greatest care and that public mind is informed on the issues at stake so much that it is now unthinkable may at least become thinkable. So in other words, they are hell-bent on reprogramming us with new ideas, new morals, like we read earlier, where much of the unthinkable becomes thinkable. And how much in the last 20 years has society just gone from unthinkable to thinkable? Like, just how many times have you slapped your forehead with some of the stuff you're presented with in the media? I don't even have to make examples. You know what I mean. So anyway, the impossibility of radical thinking about population control for many years came to an end in the late 1960s when Dr. Richard L. Day, medical director of Planned Parenthood International from 1965 to 1968, delivered a speech to the Pittsburgh Pediatric Society on March 20, 1969. Dr. Lawrence Denegan, who was in attendance and had heard the speech, recounted that in terms of controlling population, Dr. Day announced everything is in place and nobody can stop us now. This time we are going to do it right. Dr. Denegan also remembered that Dr. Day pronounced the following things were planned. Contraceptives would be dispensed at schools, abortions would become legal and paid for by tax dollars, homosexuality would be promoted as no longer to be considered abnormal behavior, hard to cure diseases would be created. Hard to cure diseases would be created. Cures for nearly all cancers have already been developed, but were being hidden so that the population wouldn't increase. Hard to detect means had been developed of inducing heart attacks. Drug addiction would be promoted, including at school, so the unfit would die. Euthanasia would be more accepted as the cost of medical care would intentionally be made burdensomely high. So it's kind of funny how the first place in the world to really get the medically assisted dying made, institutionalized suicide, Canada, where Dr. Ewan Cameron, oh my God, I never played that clip from Ewan Cameron. Oh my God. Oh, damn it. We'll play that after this. Like, it's insane. Like, there's so many of these bastards, like, just openly say this stuff, write it in articles, write it in psychiatric books. They have speeches where they all go and listen to each other drabble. But this Dr. Day, we're going to keep listening from him. This is going to get back to what you were showing us, Radio Sack. I know we've gone a long way to get there. So euthanasia would become more accepted as the cost of medical care. Like, this is prophetic. Everything's basically happened as this fucking states. Would be intentionally be made burdensomely high. Yep. Divorce would be made easier. Yep. ID badges would become more prevalent, eventually implanted under the skin and perhaps a transmitter in dental fillings. There's patterns for both, and we've seen one of them already implemented. There's people that have things under their skin already to pay for stuff, or at least we're shown that on the news. All salary payments and purchases would be reconducted. All salary payments and purchases would be conducted electronically by computer in one banking system. Major world religions, especially Christianity, would have to change into a new world religion, and the churches will help bring it about. More airplanes and rail accidents, as well as building and bridges collapses. Holy shit. What have we seen? We were bombarded with rail crashes, East Palestine. You guys had the bloody boat crash into the bridge. That Mexican boat crashed into your bridge. We've seen so many news reports around about failing infrastructure. Rail accidents, as well as building and bridge collapses, would occur to create an atmosphere of instability. Terrorism would be used to make people demand international controls. Economic independence would help lessen national sovereignty as people would become citizens of the world. Note especially that Dr. Day had said the plan to make us citizens of the world. That is the exact term US Secretary of Education Rod Page used on October 3, 2003, in his speech declaring for the Bush administration that the US was pleased to rejoin UNESCO, where we could develop common strategies to prepare our children to become citizens of the world. So yeah, we only got about halfway through that book, but there's so much more in it. It is mind-blowing. So I will link that in the show notes. It's 42 pages. About 6 of them are, pages you don't need, like the heading and then a call to action at the bottom, which you probably do need, but it might be a little bit late in terms of a little bit about the author as well. But nonetheless, I didn't know what I was stepping into when I found this, but I just thought it was so good to share. And yeah, worth reading. And the way it's structured in terms of laying it out and then using quotes and fucking direct writing from the people involved, everything from John Rawlings Rees to the Rockefellers to people on the boards of educations, people at the head of organizations and tying them all together, UNESCO. So there's so much more in this that I haven't touched. But a lot of Rockefeller funding, amongst other things, manipulation of the power elite. Like, so they even talk about like programming people in power. So you could look at like your young leaders, your global young leaders forum or whatever it is. Like Putin went to it. Apparently, you got like the ex-prime minister of the New Zealand Jacinda Ardern has been one of them. Not to mention how many of our prime ministers are Rhodes Scholars. So, like, you start to see how it all comes together. I'll give you one more bit. More recently, in terms of psychology manipulating people to accept what they otherwise would not tolerate under other conditions, the US has constantly rejected American troops, allowing American troops to face international prosecution for war crimes. However, after the photos of Iraqi detainees at Abu Ghraib prison surprisingly became public, Edith Lederer of the Associated Press began her article from the UN stating that, that's not the bit I wanted to read, that was meant to be down here. Anyway, that's enough from here. That's enough reading from that. Let me play you what I had for Ewan Cameron. We've sort of touched on it before. No, it's worth touching because I have it here. So let me just share screen again. I don't know why I closed it. Actually, no. I wanted to get into what Radio Sack was. Let's check out what Radio Sack has for us. Because you will find connections in what we just read to it. So yeah, I'll have that in the show notes. Let's check out what Radio Sack had. So that should be there. Let's read a bit more of this. And then I'll get into, we've got 8 minutes. I'm going to try keep it at 3 hours today. So I'll have to get to that Psywar. That's it. That whole episode next week is going to be that fucking thing. All right, so what I mean is this. In case you sort of come in halfway through the show. Now it's not doing the entire window? Okay. All right. I'll show you afterwards. All right. What is this? So we have a new era of, we read that bit. Let's see the technology. Okay. Oh my God. What are you showing us, Radio Sack? Wait, contact us. Microscale bioelectric fibers. So how are these administered? The EV STIM device represents a breakthrough in minimally invasive neuromodulation. What? You're going in my brain? Is this what the Egyptians were doing? You know, they used to pull out the organs supposedly and put them in urns and in the burial chambers and all that jazz. They teach you that at school. Was the hook nose thing for pulling brains out, or was it for putting things in? I don't know. That's probably not true, but it was just a thought. While today's neuromodulation devices require invasive surgical approaches, EVE-STIM can be delivered through an endovascular procedure with just a small incision, similar to a routine stent placement. All right, what the fuck's a routine stent placement? All right, John Hopkins comes up. That's not good. Oh, Jesus. All right, so it goes in there for heart blockages. That's what it looks like. Goes in your blood vessels. Understanding cholesterol. All right, so I've just linked to that. I don't trust it because that whole cholesterol thing is a fucking another lie, just like SSRIs. Anyway, about EVE-STIM. Yeah, what are you, Radio Sack? This is crazy. Yeah, there's a mental health agenda statement right there. Neurological diseases affect 1 in 6 people worldwide, and these diseases aren't going anywhere. If one of those is depression, depression's linked a lot to environment, and we need to look at the environment and like what did that like philosopher from way back when say? It's profanely sick to be well adjusted to a sick society or something. You know the one I'm talking about. Transforming human health. Stop it. You've already transformed it with all your poisoned food and your chemtrails and your frequencies and everything else. Just Stop doing what you're doing and the transform will happen. What is this? Just a little cool swirly picture. Show me some implementation, will you? All right. So we've got some more swirly swirls. Tunable geometry. Adaptable to small and large vessels. So are these supposed to go in the blood vessels of the brain? Holy shit. Eve Stim is hair thin. Okay, you know what? This will tie into this other clip I have, right? So this gets into like bioluminescence and quantum dot tracking, and like they were reading something about in this clip here. This is 6G agenda again. They were reading about how the different frequencies and the different electrical stimuli between different cells in the brain, and like how it's such a low level of electricity, but they're like measuring it. Anyway, this is bit of quantum dot tracking as well as controlling the brain of mice through light, blue light frequency manipulation, that sort of thing. So I'll pull that one up and then I'm going to see what else is on this website while it's going.
Part of buying and selling. And
oh yeah, it's got, you literally essentially have a barcode attached to you that's specific to the consumer. So that way when you buy or sell, it has the identity of the consumer that bought or sold.
yes. Yes, and right here you'll see, for example, the quantum dots, when exposed to UV light, emit light having a specific set of colors, color characteristics.
Damn.
No, it's weird.
We underestimate how important light is and what role it
it's
plays.
kind of like what you said earlier. You know, the quantum dots can also emit light across the entire spectrum, so it is possible to have emissions that are undetectable by the human eye, although the spectral signature may be embedded in specific variations across the spectrum. But it goes on, and there's a distributor ledger, blockchain, yada yada yada.
You know what's so ironic about this is you got a guy who's talking about how light can be used for mind control and
look.
The
quantum reader may also be integrated into smartphones or other mobile devices. For example, the blue light generated by a mobile phone can be used to activate dots, and the built-in camera can differentiate emitted lights. So look at our technology with our phones right now are already adaptable to this.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, Radio Sack. You are onto it. Holy shit. So, the chat's been going off and I have not been checking. What's going on here? Your mum knows about it. There you go, bro. So get some eggs in you. Get some, some nuts, I don't know if legumes have fat, but like your fucking your almonds, your good fats, all that jazz. Get some fucking lamb in you. Get some fucking steak. Keep the fat on it. Make sure it's grass-fed. Check out people from the Beach Initiative like Shannon, we've seen on AM Wake Up a few times. Do things like that. My next guess is that we'll see vast infrastructure projects across the world, all World Bank countries to gain public trust back. Interesting. They're going to need to gain public trust back because people are cutting down the poles and we love to see it. Fuck the bloody flock cameras. Blue light monitors, they don't have to do anything invasive. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out as well. Yeah, they can just sort of like read your like eye tracking and all that. Is that what you mean? Or just the sheer manipulation of the frequencies enough? Because I think that's what they're going to get into here. But Radio Sack, I've just clicked on some of the scientific studies behind this website you mentioned. And it's the exact same study that they're about to reference here. So it's pretty cool. By pretty cool, I mean pretty alarming, but you know what I mean.
That's what I was saying like earlier.
Well, they
like our phones are...
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You're good.
No, they have quantum dot technology on Nike attire. I saw people talking about that in the chat. There's Nike attire where they have patents for quantum dot tech.
Yo, shout out to Gonzo Johnny. Are you in the Netherlands, bro? That is sick. Yo, let's go. Hollow Perth perspective. Hanging out all over the world. Love to see it. Nice. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. The internet's not all bad. It's not all bad. All right, let's get back into this clip. What's been going on in the chat? I'm fucking just a bit here. Yep, I agree with that. Actually, you can get a lot of information from stool samples. Shout out to Jordan Christoph, health guru. Yeah, no. But still, I definitely throw it at them. It's going to be hard for them to, clean it up and get a sample. So I like it. Good idea. Bibi from the Polish sausage factory. I like it. Is there actually a... Hang on. Is that actually a real sausage factory? Come on, now I got to fucking find out. Milikowski sausage. Because if that's a real thing, explains a lot. It's not loading. Then Yahoo said it. I was okay then. Yeah, I was 50-50. I knew it was one of the two. Okay. Thanks for that, Konya Kim. Hypnotic suggestion. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, even TVs, the frequencies that they put out made the, was it the alpha or the beta side of the brain? One of them overfire in an unnatural way that it never would normally. And that gets you in a highly suggestive state. We all know that. But yeah, let's listen to this because Radio Shack just connecting dots.
Technology, so that way they know exactly whose shirt it is, the pair of shoes it is, right? Like everything becomes enmeshed in the system. Everything is going to be a part of this. There's not going to be one thing.
You know what's crazy is Elon Musk mentioned that he wants pretty much like half the GDP to flow through X at some point in the future.
Right.
So X will be something that will be interacting, buying and selling.
Banking. He wants it to be the one app for everything.
Right.
He said.
Well, it says right here.
It just sort of come to me, but I think this is sort of how the structure works. Like back to that video I've referenced a few times. I guess if I'm going to keep referencing it quickly, I can pull it up. But, video file. This week's episode. This one. And now it's not coming up, of course. This one here.
Living in a cognitive Wild West.
We really are living in a cognitive Wild West.
Living in a cognitive Wild West.
A cognitive Wild West. Most people have near zero mimetic defenses or cognitive security suited for the age of synthetic.
So we kind of know these guys are all puppets, yeah? So it kind of makes me feel like when it comes back to like the
app on
Elon Musk's dream of half the GDP of America flowing through Twitter. It's almost like they give some of these puppets, like they give them these big organizations and then they sort of fill them with these ideologies and they go, do your best to see if you can create the overlord infrastructure that we need to control the populace. And if you're successful, you'll get riches for life. You know what I mean? And then like you've got the head of public relations at Flock, who is just an absolute bowl, and Steve has played a few clips on AM Wake Up of him. And yeah, these people, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the ideas that they push are older than they are, and they're just the vessels for the current implementation of them, is what I guess I'm trying to say. Anyway, let's just let this keep going.
This. A mobile app on the mobile phone can then detect the spectral responses, patterns, quantum dots in a particular product. The app may also include a combination of authenticator and a wallet. For example, the quantum wallet can include tokens that are tied to the QDX ledger for use in tokenization of objects or transactions. So what I'm saying is it's talking about an app. We don't know what app that is.
Right.
But
yeah, no, it's coming.
Talking about it.
I think it's here. We just don't know it yet.
Great.
So as we were talking about earlier, is it possible to perform mind control tactics with light alone? Well, we've got this little article here that came up here. Scientists test mind control with light. No surgeries required. That's insane, dude. So this is in 2020 that they had this come out. Neuroscience. It's from freethink.com. Talks about how Carl Daserith once controlled brain cells in a petri dish using light. Now, nearly 2 decades later, his research is eerily demonstrating next-level mind control by manipulating brain signals in a living mouse with lasers. No surgery required. So this is, I think, the same kind of idea with what we were talking about with the red light therapy stuff, even for therapy. Researchers even projected artificial experiences in mice's minds using a technique called inception. I mean, optogenetics. Oh, that's funny. They're trying to be funny. Optogenetics is a biological technique that uses light of different frequencies to control genetically modified brain cells. The modified neurons have light-sensitive proteins called opsins. Light pulses can stimulate the opsins, which in turn can cause a neuron to fire or not. And these lasers that they use hit individual brain cells and trigger or stop new patterns in the brain. So they're able to like control the mind with light is what's happening. This is Delgado's work perfected through light.
Interesting.
So in other words, light genetic engineering equals mind control. Well, isn't that funny? Because that seems to be exactly what they study, isn't it? When you merge all this together, that is where we're at. So if genetic engineering is important for mind control, and we know that Epstein studied that, of course, DNA, heavily involved with the family I spoke about earlier, who was also involved with DNA and blue light, it seems that maybe that's the agenda here.
Johnny, you haven't seen that full clip. Oh, come on, I'll play it for you. It's only short. I'll let it finish.
Zero mimetic defenses or cognitive security suited for the age of synthetic media.
The age of synthetic media.
The age of synthetic media.
Synthetic media. Whatever immunity you have is worn down by the constant expectation of deception.
Whatever immunity you have is
worn down by the
constant expectation
of deception.
The constant expectation of deception.
Worst of all,
you've already epistemically surrendered. You've already
epistemically
surrendered.
Worst of all, you've already epistemically surrendered.
So yes, just a bunch of Tavistockian word wizardry there. It sounds retarded. Exactly. I'm glad you had the same initial reaction when I first heard it, but the fact that they're all saying the exact same thing, you've already epistemically surrendered. Fuck off. But yeah, I love it. Good to see. Good to see. All right, back to this quickly.
To think of.
Yeah, and it's another Stanford University bioengineer, right? So you have the Stanford Research Institute, Stanford University.
What's the deal with smart cities? Like, is that even a thing still?
Yeah, like smart cities, like
are they?
All right, so they touched on it a little bit. They might get back into it later in the show, but that's the clip. So let me just pull this one back up. I will remove the other media first. Apologies, StreamYard. Rightio. They don't like me hanging out on their website and broadcasting it by the looks of things. But so back to your creepy ass website, Radio Sack. I went to their technology page. Check out our publications to learn more about the technology behind neurobionics. So I did. This one here, probably worth looking at. So I clicked on it. Multifunctional neural probes enable bidirectional electrical, optical, and chemical recording and stimulation in vivo. Okay, that one in vivo. So that, wait, is that the same thing as like, because that was a term, I think that's a term that come up during COVID where it means like in vivo means like we did the test in a computer model. I'm going to have to figure out what that means. In vivo term means... Oh, in the living organism. Okay, that's worse. What is the term for when a test is done in a model? Electronic model. In situ, I remember. Is it in situ? Simulation-based testing. It's something. They were using it, and it was a very mental healthian-esque term, a very vague term to justify some of the actions during COVID. Apparently, I can't load this one, so I'm going to remember which one it was. So, multifunctional neural probes enable bidirectional electrical, optical, and chemical recording and stimulation within the body. So is that mind control? Let's find out. So that study, I think, did. No, so this one is modulation of gut and brain neural circuits. So there is almost as many what do you call it? Neuron connectors in the stomach. Like, it's like they call it your second brain, basically, is what I'm saying. So that's pretty concerning. But this is the other one, the one we just read. So the abstract, recording and modulation of neuronal activity enables the study of brain function in health and disease. I'll zoom in a little bit for you guys so you can read with me or read ahead if you're quicker at it. A couple more of the clickies. I don't want to try the AI companion. How do I get rid of it? Can't. Clicking on it, you cheeky buggers. All right. Recording and modulation of neuronal activity enables the study of brain function in health and disease, in mental health and disease. While translational neuroscience relies on electrical recording and modulation techniques, mechanistic studies in rodent models leverage genetic precision of optical methods such as optogenetics and fluorescent indicator imaging. In addition to electrical signal transduction, neurons produce and receive diverse chemical signals which motivate tools to probe and modulate neurochemistry. Although the past decade has delivered a wealth of technologies for electrophysiology, optogenetics, chemical sensing, and optical recording, combining these modalities with a single platform remains challenging. The work leverages material selection and convergence fiber to permit neural recording, electrical stimulation, optogenetics, fiber photometry, drug and gene delivery, and voltammetric recording of neurotransmitters within individual fibers. All right. Introduction. Since their conception in the early 1900s, electrical recording and stimulation of neural activity have laid the foundation to study brain circuits. Kind of how like they used to use electric shock therapy in MK Ultra. Is that what you mean? More recently, advances in genetic and optical tools have empowered neuroscientists to probe neural pathways with cell type specificity. Cell type specificity. Piss off. Uncovering mechanisms underlying behavior and physiology in health disease. Optogenetics using microbial rhodopsin permits. All right, we're going to get a little bit too hard for Alex here. I get what it means, sort of. It's not good. So where's the conclusion? Do we have a conclusion? Results? Wow, that's tiny. The polyfiber probe was designed with 6 diameter CNT yarn electrodes and 200 diameter. What's that like? Is that micrometers or the one under micrometers? Nanometers? I don't know quite what that is. We can find out. That was micrometer. Woohoo. Not as retarded as I look. All right. Hang on. Yep, the diameters. Optical wavelength guide embedded within an insulating polycarbonate cladding, a microfluidic channel of 40 by 100 micrometers composed of a PC wall was separated from the cladding via a thin layer of styrene, ethylene, the consistent polymers were selected for the relative similarities to the glass transition temperatures to enable thermo-co-drawing. Additionally, PMA and THVP were selected for their low absorption and high refractive index contrast in their visible ranges. All right, there's some pictures. Oh my God. Straight into the mouse's head. The mice's head? Poor Mr. Mouse. Hey. Whoa. What's this? I'll give us we got to get to a conclusion here. Stop it. Just stop it. Get out of the brain. This is gross. Fiber as a tool to assess drug-induced perturbation in the reward circuit. Oh my God. Maladaptive changes at key nodes of mesolimbic. Oh my God, the limbic system, reward circuit, and the VTA and NAC accompany chronic drug use and alcohol use. Developing tools to reveal changes in the VTA and NAC in response to drugs and alcohol abuse holds potential to advance the study and treatment of substance use disorders or inhibit them. Not inhibit them. What's the word? Or create them. Holy shit. Conclusion. Here we go. Through materials, optimization and convergence, thermal drawing. Through materials optimization and convergence thermal drawing, we have engineered MRI compatible polyfibers capable of bidirectional optical, electrical, and chemical integration of neural brain circuits in vivo. The lower losses and higher NA of the addictive waveguides within the polyfibers with respect to previously reported polymer waveguides permitted photometric recording of calcium and DA indicator fluorescence with SNR comparable to commercial silica fibers. All right, what did you do with them? Owing to their experimental section. Oh my God, what? What did you do? Did you make the mice take over the world? What was it? Oh my God, injections into the brain. Bioluminescent injections. Oh, that's enough. This is too much. This is too much. All right. Radio Saki, you got a bigger brain than me. I can't read this. But yeah, this is kind of what it's feeling like, meaning they made computer. Wait, hang on. Yeah, it's in vitro in the living reality. In vivo computer. Well, the AI just told me the opposite of that, so I don't know what's going on anymore, but I know it's one of those two. Yeah, you're onto it with me. All right. Well, all we'll do is we'll just read some of the titles because I think we can sort of get what they're trying to do. Whether they're 100% successful, I'm not sure. That's too many fucking science words for me there. But we've got probes to enable bidirectional electrical, optical, and chemical recording and stimulus. So they're trying to stimulate your brain there. Trying to fuck around with your gut here. Maybe if you're on Ozempic, they want to re-stimulate the gut so you can lose weight and have a functioning gut at the same time. Fiber-based soft robots, don't like the sound of that. Multifunctional fibers enable modulation of cortical and deep brain activity during cognitive behavior in monkeys, macaques. Holy shit. That's the same monkey that they get the 100th monkey effect from, is a macaque. That was going to be the name of my podcast. I was going to call it the Ohmcast, the 100th monkey, because the idea is that as I touch a subject, I might be, the final conspiracy theorist that, breaks that threshold. Turns out I wasn't. The New World Order's still going. But anyway, thermally drawn, highly conductive fibers. All right. I'll link this in the show notes for all of you guys. It's going to take some serious, in vivo photopharmacology. So is that the whole if you've ever watched The Last American Vagabond, he touched on it a lot during COVID, was that the body will become like the warehouse for making the medicines, if you know what I mean. Like the body will induce its own. Anyway, he touched on it heaps. What the fuck is this? Here we go. My computer's having a shit. It can't load things at the moment. That's who's involved. Publication history, abstract. Photo switchable ligands can add an optical switch to target receptors or signaling cascade and enable reversible control of neural circuits. Oh! The application of this approach, termed photopharmacology, to behavioral experiments has been impeded by a lack of integrated hardware capable of delivering both light and compounds to deep brain regions in moving subjects. Here, we devise a hybrid photochemical genetic approach to target neurons using a photo-switchable agonist of the capsaicin receptor. Using multifunctional fibers with optical and microfluidic capabilities, we deliver a transgene coding. We've got enough trans as it is, thanks. For TRPV1 into the ventral tegmental area. The sensitivity excitatory, allowing us to optically control conditioned place preference in mice, thus extending applications of photopharmacological to behavioral experiments. Applied to endogenous receptors, our approach may accelerate future studies of molecular mechanisms underlying animal behavior. Well, if that doesn't say trying to control the mind, I don't know what does. God almighty. Mind control is well and truly still underway. That is for sure. And we have now clocked over 3 hours with the 20 minutes of intro I usually do with me fucking videos and me music. Unfortunately, we didn't get to cover the Psywar graphic, which is this one here. So let me just show you what we're going to have to do next week now. I'll give you a little taste tester before we get out of here, because I have started on this. I've started the research on this, but just in this top left quadrant here. So let me just do a little bit of zoomy zoom. A bit of fucking heel.
Is that a weed?
No, this is a crayon.
911, what's your emergency?
All right, so I've done a little bit hanging around here. So we've got American Technologies Corp, the Neurophone, 1958. This device converts sound into electrical impulses that propagate along the skin into the brain. So I looked up that dude. What I'm going to need to do is separate the StreamYard from that tab and bring this over. I hope you can see this. Can, that's good. Okay, cool. Apparently there isn't. Oh, yes, they do. Oh my God, they have a sausage factory. That is the best thing I've heard all day. Milikowski's Sausage Factory. Get fucked. Oh my God. That is beautiful. Is that where King Charles got his fingers? Welcome to the Sausage Factory. No, that's not what it is. What do they call it? A sausage fest when there's no girls at a party? That's how they like them at the Milikowskis. I'm certain. Anyway, that's enough fucking dick jokes. That was something we're going to have to get to next week. Where is it? Here's the Neurophone. All right, Patrick Flanagan. This is the inventor of the Neurophone. The device encodes audio signals into ultrasonic waves, typically 40 to 100 kilohertz, which are transmitted through the body's tissues to the saccule, an organ in the inner ear, normally associated with the balance, but containing nerve endings that reach the brain. So there is a US patent. Did I actually find the patent? I thought I pulled it up somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. But anyway, since he invented this thing at the age of 13 or 14, apparently, he's gone on to make this website. Oh, man, what is going on here? And if this doesn't spell new age agenda, I don't know what does. Look at this fucking dude. So this is his website, apparently, and you can get things like crystal energy, Dr. Flanagan's original wetter water formula, because if your water wasn't wet enough, well, you've come to the right place, let me tell you. We've got the wettest water. I'm telling you now, 2-for-1 special, the wettest water. It's the wettest water you've ever seen. It transforms ordinary water into liquid crystal. What do they say on Saturday Night Anarchy? Smoke crystal and hail Satan or something? Neurophone sensory medallion. Oh my God. So about us, research, all things Flanagan. Let's learn a little bit about the inventor of this neurophone, some of the earliest mind control frequency technology. Microcluster technology. Oh no, that's got to do. Nutrients into our cells. Sounds cool. Might be worth looking into, but all things Flanagan. Check out his photo gallery. We're not going to watch any videos. Let's see what he's been. This is photos. Oh, he has none. Here we go. Oh, cool. A young Dr. Henry Conada. Yeah, that looks a little bit like the Klaus Schwab and Noah Yuval Harari situation, if you know what I mean. A little bit of the old Greek philosopher and the mentor mentality. You know how some of them were a little bit like butt boys. Anyway, banquet of the golden plate of the Academy of Achievement. 17-old inventor. Pat is now a senior. The neurophone. The takeover generation. With his pyramid tent. What is this? What? Are you hanging out with Anton LaVey, bro? What's this? He does seminars with a very royal-esque, Royal Society-looking symbol down the bottom there. What? What? Hang on, what is that one? What are we... Man, these crazy people, man. Look at those earrings, man. Pyramid of Power too. Patrick Flanagan. Bro, this guy's straight up wizard, man. Jeff Bezos wannabe looking like that. Yo, what's the chat saying about these? Anything funny? Crazy. I think we're going a bit long on this episode, but some sort of fucking live show experiment type thing. Interesting. Anyone that wears those toe shoes is really creepy to me, so that's sus as fuck. Scientist of the Century. 1999. Wow. Somebody's pretty important. Patrick Flanagan. Of the longevity missing link. Celebration of his life, his love for all humankind, and the eternal giving from his heart. I thought it was a royal thing. It's not. It's American. Oh man, been getting shit done. So apparently invented the neurophone. So if we go back to this thing, which is supposed to be a taste tester, what else did I look up? I looked up Silent Sounds Inc., the S Quad, which is this one here on the left. The Silent Sound Spread Spectrum, sometimes called S Squad or Squad, was developed by Dr. Oliver Lowry of the Norcross, Georgia, and is described in US Patent 5159703, Silent Subliminal Presentation System, dated October 27, 1992. Silent Communication System, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, anybody? Google that. a silent communication system in which non-oral carriers in the very low or high audio frequency range or in the adjacent ultrasonic frequency spectrum are amplitude or frequency modulated with desired intelligence and propagated acoustically or vibrationally for inducement into the brain, typically through the use of loudspeakers, earphones, or piezoelectric transducers. The modulated carriers may be transmitted directly in real time or may be conveniently recorded and stored on a medical, magnetic, or optical media for delayed or repeated transmission to the listener. So this one, the SSSS, has a little bit of controversy around it. Some people say it's a conspiracy theory. Others say it's real. A lady called Judy Hall was the first one to write an article about it. And this was on this page here. So I found it. So this is the actual pattern that we just talked about, a silent communication systems in which non-oral carriers in the very low. We just read that. But this is the pattern. So it does exist. We just read some other patterns from Radio Shack's website. So Edward Tilton, identified as the president of Silent Sounds, according to the company, created tapes and CDs for the German government and former Soviet Union countries with the permission from the US State Department. So fact checkers note that while the underlying patent exists, there is no independent verification of Silent Sounds Inc.'s existence or Tilton's role. So every time you see the word fact checkers, it makes you question whether or not it's real. It's normally real if they've had to fact check it because they're trying to fucking manipulate your mind. But yeah, there was a Project Zombie that happened in Kiev during the 1989 coup, leading to the 2014 CIA intervention. There was probably some CIA intervention in the first one. But apparently, there was no coup in 1989, but it was in 1989, the Ukrainian Revolution. Anyway, it was a coup. Apparently, during this, they were using certain mind-altering electromagnetic frequency type hardware on the citizens. And I couldn't find anything on a quick search. I'm going to have to do some more digging. It's called Operation Bonfire, or it's also called Operation Zomboy, or Zombie rather. So I couldn't find anything on a quick search, but what I did find, which seems very suspect, was Project Zomboid, which is a 2013, so 1 year before the actual 2014 shit that went down in the Ukraine, which is sort of still boiling over today. Go check out The Last American Vagabond's work on the Ukrainian stuff. He fucking covered all of it and shows you many connections. And Victoria Newland, was it, that got caught on the phone talking about overthrowing the government and installing their own people. So anyway, there's a game. So Kiev, Russia, basically, you know, the same place, sort of fighting over the land. But Project Zomboid, a popular survival game mod called Project Russia, allows players to survive the apocalypse in 1993 Russia. Video game release, a separate indie game titled Zombie Virus Ukraine 20. Okay, I might have read that pretty late. But yeah, there's some connections to it. I'm going to have to do some fact finding on that. Although the developer was Canadian, interesting. But yeah, that might not be as good of a link as I thought it was last night. There is another part of it in the Psywar graphic here, which was looking at, going over to the right here. Oh, yeah, I was checking out the Silent Sounds, my bad. So I'll quickly show you that article. This is like a Russian manufacturer of microphones, but they're implicated in some of this technology as well, which ties into that Kiev coup thing that I was just talking about. But Where is it here? So this is a recreation of the original article by Judy Wall on one of those like online encyclopedias where you can find cool shit called whale.to. Check it out. So it talks about cloning emotions in here, system delivery and applications, official denials, power of the military industrial complex, KGB psychotronics, which we just talked about, towards global mind control. So yeah, I'll get into this one, which is the silence sound spread spectrum. Fuck, say that 5 times fast. The SSS. And I find it interesting with, Nazi, the SS. There's a lot of that influence within this mentality and human experimentation. And then you've got this. So we looked at the pattern. It definitely exists. So as I assumed when I found this and was reading through it for the first time, a lot of this stuff's going to be, researchable and could be some fun, as much as it's fun to investigate the levers of power using mind control and technology to manipulate us. But you know what I mean? As conspiracy theorists, we must have some sort of fucking interest and joy in this. Otherwise, we wouldn't fucking stare into the void as long as we do. But I think that's enough staring for today. So without further ado, I think I might end it there. I'll zoom out to finish with a pretty cool picture of it. See the whole thing. There it is there. Pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot to go with there. Down the bottom left, you'll see some remote viewing. John B. Alexander. We've covered a little bit of that. I've got some clips from him already. So I'm building a database to go along with going through this, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty huge. I'll link for this in the show notes as well. So if you want to download it and go through it in your own time. Oh, one more thing I didn't show you. I'll link this in the show notes as well. I still got to finish that. So just bear with us. But if you go to Omnisense on the webarchive.com, you will find an incredible list of these technologies. And you can scroll at your heart's content. FM, theta, inducing audible sound and method device and recorded medium to generate the same. Electric fringe field generator for manipulating nervous systems. I mean, just scroll to your heart's content at all these patterns. You know what I mean? So I'll link that in the show notes as well. But this mind control research is endless. But when you live in idiocracy worldwide, you got to investigate this shit. So I guess without further ado, I better bring up my outro video. I'll say thank you to everyone that's still in the chat and to everybody that stopped in along the way. And I think we'll leave that one for next week because, yeah, that's going to be fun. So I need to go to last week's episode and get the bloody outro. Not 2 weeks ago. Intro. No, we're looking for the outro. I'm going to have to search it. I never know where I put these things. All right. Shout out to Gonzo Johnny. You've been very active in the chat. I've left your comment up for so long now and I can't get rid of it for some reason now. There it is. She passed out cookies. Get out of town. Do you reckon that's a little bit like the LSD experiments of old? You know, the guy who followed around the Grateful Dead giving out Kool-Aid? Holy shit, that's crazy, bro. So shout out to Gonzo Johnny. He's been hanging out. Shout out to your mum. I'm hoping the machining work's going well. Shout out to the OG, Claire. I know you'll be lurking there somewhere. There she is. I knew she'd pop up. Much love to you and your family too, Claire. Tell Shane I said g'day. Thank you, Konya Kim. Always good to see you popping in. Radio Sack, of course. With your crazy fiber website that's going to scare us all, but need to know, so thank you. Thank you. And everybody else that popped in early, like we had Yona. Apologies to Ray, I just sent you the link too late. We got Greg. You may experience a juice hex. It's a powerful magic. Your stream may get frozen. Papa, can you hear me? Do you want to build a snowman? Greg's fucking funny, man.
Holy moly.
Yeah, dude. Gay fog. Oh, no. Don't breathe it in. Oh, now we're turning the freaking fog gay. I don't even know what they're doing, but I'm imagining chemtrails. But yeah, shout out to everybody else that hung out early. Yona, I seen him there. Support the TMP. Give us a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Shout out to Ghostar. I remember you being in early, dropping some stuff. Seems your energy heart attack's pretty much confirmed. Yeah, man. Lots of clouds form like upside down pentagrams. Yeah, that's normal. All right, I'm going to stop reading chats from fucking 4 hours ago, and I'm going to say peace out, much love. Tell your mum you love her. Peace in the Middle East, and I will see you on the next one. You.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was.
Sometimes I just like to, go home and kick off the boots and fire up a Wendy. Listen to the Doors, Riders on the Storm.
Fucking great song.
Yeah, it's a fucking cracker of a song, mate. I've always got a Wendy stashed in me Winnie Blues, mate. It's always tucked there in the back, all green too. None of this fucking spinning with this. There she is, mate. The old Southern Cross, shining down on us like an angel from above. There she is. She's always with me. And yeah, mate, I'm fucking Mike Nolan and vote me for fucking city councilman.
Thanks, Driver.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Driver.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.